Very happy to be providing the audio for the live stream being produced by 302 Sports under the direction of producer Nick Halliday. So far this year, both these teams have done what you would expect and are both 2-0 heading into tonight's matchup. Salesianum has opened up at Baynard Stadium with two hard-fought contests against traditionally tough opponents, Father Judge from Pennsylvania and Caesar Rodney High School. And it was the second half of last week's 24-0 win over Caesar Rodney that probably showed us exactly what this Sally's team is made of. The highly favored Sal's unexpectedly led by just 7 points at the half, but then came out and scored on all three of their first possessions in the second half by running, throwing, and even kicking a field goal on their way to the win. Smyrna has done what it did all last season, score points. 120 then to be exact. Now, granted, their two wins are against two teams that most likely won't be in the playoffs, but points are points, and this Eagles team picked up right where it left off last season on both sides of the ball. They not only can put points on the board, but they can keep teams out of the end zone, too. Marty, we talk all the time about teams not looking ahead, but we ourselves were guilty of that as well, because as soon as we realized we'd be broadcasting this game, we started talking about it. The time has finally come. This stadium is packed with fans from both teams, and while last week we called our game of the week a David versus Goliath situation, this week it's Goliath versus Goliath at the top two teams in the state of end of last year and top two teams in this season's current poll meet on Friday night under the lights.
You know, it's been a crazy season so far. Everybody out there, raise your hand if you thought that Red Lion would have more wins combined than Caravel, McCain, AI, and Howard, or if William Penn would be shut out by Middletown in week 2. But one thing that stayed the same is these two teams have maintained their dominance in the early going. Based on everything I've heard and read, there seem to be two schools of thought about tonight's game. One says that this could be one of the most exciting control offense and a suffocating defense. On the other sideline, you have Smyrna, a program really resurrected from the depths by third-year head man Mike Judy. He's built this program around a high-flying, lightning-quick spread offense that doesn't punt or attempt field goals, and a bend but don't break, but very opportunistic defense. Add it all up, and you've got the ingredients for great high school football.
Well, you mentioned great high school football. You mentioned the great atmosphere. I got here a little bit before 5 o'clock, and there were 100 and some students already lined up to get in here. They opened the gates half an hour early at 5:30. They've added bleachers into the end zone. We haven't gotten word whether this is an official sellout, but it is certainly darn close because the entire home stands are just blanketed with people in red and white shirts. The Sally's crowd is starting to fill in, probably fighting some of that traffic down here. We're still half an hour for kickoff, and the stadium looks like it's halftime with the number of fans that are here. All right, let's start talking about the Salesianum Sal's, coached by Bill DiNardo. He's in his 13th year at Sally's, that after being the head coach at Middletown just up the road for 16 years. This is a team, Marty, that looked deep when we watched them on film, and then they proved to us when we saw them play live in person last week during our broadcast that they have interchangeable parts without any real loss of talent when substitutions are made. In fact, they replace big bodies with big bodies and smaller, quick bodies with smaller, quick bodies.
That's just it. Salesianum, by its sheer profile, is always going to be deep. Their enrollment's always going to guarantee a full roster, but what we've seen in the first 2 weeks of the season is a deep and talented roster up and down. And frankly, it's just the kind of mix of strength and speed and depth at key positions, most notably running back, wide receiver, and defensive back, that are a must to compete with a team that plays the style and at the pace of Smyrna.
All right, statistics aside, Zach Gwynn struggled in the South's first game under center, but looked much better and more poised last week against Caesar Rodney. The junior quarterback has already played on the sport's biggest stage last year in the final game of the season, and that state championship in front of 10,000 fans, many of whom are here tonight at Delaware Stadium. That game was last year, but this atmosphere is probably maybe the second biggest he's ever played in front of.
I would agree. And, you know, Gwynn really seemed to find his rhythm in the second half last week. He looked much more comfortable and poised in the pocket. Consequently, he ended up making better decisions. As you noted, he's played on the big stage, leading the Sal's in the home stretch of the semifinal against Middletown, and then almost leading them, accounting for 3 touchdowns in the state title game against this Smyrna team. Played extremely well in that game. Tonight's a little different animal for Zach, though. This is his first true road game in a very loud environment against a team that takes some chances defensively. given the style of the Smyrna D, though, Zach is going to have his chances. He's going to have opportunities to hit for some big plays. The question is, can he take advantage of them?
All right, well, the Reader era is over, finally, as the opponents would say. But as Sally's always seems to do, they have two big, powerful fullbacks and two lightning-quick running backs like we've seen so often over the years. It's kind of like a thunder-lightning situation in the backfield for the Sals.
It is. It's amazing. I look back to 2 weeks ago when we had that St. Elizabeth's game, and all of a sudden St. Elizabeth started sending wave after wave of running backs in the game. That's what we saw with Salesianum last week. They just seem to have an endless supply. It's been one of the more impressive aspects of the 2-0 start. And as you said, they got plenty of speed. They got guys like Nick Merlino and Liam Mulvena. They've also got the big bruiser back there, Peyton Mullen, and he's just as likely to throw a crunching lead block as he is to plow through the middle for 5-6 yards a pop. We also saw the Sals get pretty creative in using Michael DiNardo and Josh Patrick on jet sweep type plays with good success. So there's a lot of speed and a lot of strength in that Sals backfield.
All right, well, as if Bill Stradley and Peyton Mullen weren't big and strong enough to open up holes, the Sally's offensive line returns 4 of 5 starters from last year's team, and those guys are going to need to give Gwynn time when he's back passing and open up holes for the runners to balance this offense out.
I thought these guys were the big key in the second half last week against CR. It led by 6'5", 290-pound Randy Sinat and 6'6", 275-pound Don Mara. They really wore down the Riders in the second half, often pushing their way to the second level of the CR defense. They also did a really nice job of giving Zach Gwynn a good pocket to throw in. If they can find a way to hang with Smyrna tonight, the O-line's going to have to play a starring role.
All right, let's talk about this Smyrna High School team. As you can hear the Salesianum band in the background. Smyrna is coached by Mike Judy in his third year as the head coach. He served under previous coach Clay Lloyd from 2007 to 2013. He played football here in Delaware. He was a center about 10 miles south of here at Dover High, and then he stayed right in the Dover area and went to Wesley College. He started the lacrosse program here at Smyrna, and actually is a former Henlopen Coach of the Year. So even though he grew up in Dover, he's been a Smyrna guy throughout most of his adulthood. And he just didn't win the school's first state football champions last year. He solidified the fact that this football program, for now, and there's no reason to see from what we've seen as far as underclassmen and all that that's going to change anytime soon. They're one of the best in the state. He's done a heck of a job in the 2+ years he's been at the helm of this program.
He really has. He's one of those guys. I remember watching Trevor Cooney at Syracuse, and it seemed like he went to Syracuse for 10 years. Mike Judy seems like he's been here for 10 years. Right. It's only his third season. He inherited a 2-8 team that did not have a lot of history of success and a student body that, frankly, was pretty apathetic about the football program. After installing his wide-open spread attack and adding a lot of athleticism to the roster, things really started to fall in place in 2014. They came out with that high-flying offensive scheme. The Eagles went 5-5, and they seemed to really be a good defense away from putting it all together. Last year he did. Vastly improved defense in 2015. The Eagles held opponents to fewer than 15 points a game while ringing up, of course, 55 per game on offense. They had the 9-1 regular season, the Henlopen North Championship. Then all they did in the playoffs was go out and rout a very good Mount Pleasant team, stage really a second-half demolition of William Penn, and just what you and I witnessed firsthand was just an amazing contest. And then avenged their only regular season loss in winning their first-ever title against the Sals. And by the way, in that game, his defense held the Sals to 50 less points than they scored in the first meeting. So he's done a fantastic job here.
He sure has. And the key to these last couple years has been quarterback Nolan Henderson, an all-state performer last year. Somehow he wasn't an all-conference performer, but that's another conversation for another time. Threw for almost 3,300 yards passing, 36 touchdowns, and he seems to have picked up right where he left off. His 4 star wide receivers are all gone, but from what we've seen on film, that really doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't, and just to piggyback on that, he was sensational last year. Coach Judy's offense calls for the quarterback to make quick decisions and take care of the ball, something Henderson did with great efficiency last year. Those numbers he put up in Delaware circles are sort of like video game numbers. We're just not used to seeing numbers like that around here. This year alone, through the first 2 games, 480 yards, 7 touchdowns, but maybe just as importantly, 0 interceptions. And it would be foolish to suggest he hasn't had help, as Judy has surrounded him with some pretty amazing talent, including quite possibly the best 2 running backs in the league or in the state. As the competition level rises, though, it's going to be interesting to see the impact of losing Dante Ritchie, Brandon Bishop, and Charlie Taylor to graduation. There's a whole bunch of new guys out there, and with the competition getting better week after week, it'll be interesting to see how they react.
Well, a lot of people think that 3,300 yards passing last year was an all-time record in the state of Delaware. Of course, early in the years, they didn't keep stats probably, and then until they came out with film, you had to question how accurate they were. But whether it was a record or not, it certainly was an impressive season for Nolan Henderson last year. When he isn't gunslinging the ball around the field, he's handed it off to another first-team All-State selection, running back Will Knight.
Yeah, Knight burst onto the scene in incredible fashion last year. As a sophomore, he garnered Offensive Player of the Year honors from the News Journal. After just a dream season, he ran for 2,015 yards, 33 touchdowns, caught 17 passes for 310 and 4 touchdowns. And then probably the most what you and I thought was one of the more amazing stats we'd ever seen, 51 two-point conversions he ran for last year for a team that does not kick field goals or extra points. This year he's at it again. He's got 8 carries for 86 yards and 2 touchdowns, 6 receptions for 160 more and another score. Now his numbers are down from the start of last season. There's no question about that, but there's a very good reason for that. And in the long run, it could be more trouble for Smyrna's opponents.
Well, last year at this time, he had carried the ball 24 times after 2 games. Coming in tonight, he's only carried it 8 times, and that's because they've got another running back in the backfield, another junior, Letty Brown, a transfer from the now-defunct powerhouse Eastern Christian Academy.
You know, this backfield is amazing. I was thinking last night, it's not unrealistic to think that they could have the first-team All-State quarterback and 2 running backs. Letty Brown is just absolutely amazing. You watch him on film, it's hard to believe this kid's playing for Smyrna on the same team as Will Knight. He's a transfer from former national power Eastern Christian Academy. He's already got offers from Maryland, West Virginia, and Louisville. Now, I heard there's some pretty good football schools.
Yeah.
He's 6'1", 195 pounds. He's a little bit bigger than Will Knight, every bit as explosive. Coach Judy is taking full advantage of Brown's skill set as well. Lines him up all over the field as running back, wide receiver, and slot man. He's also got him returning punts and kickoffs. He's returned one for 96 yards for a touchdown last week against Appoquinimink. With he and Knight lining up all over the field, Coach Judy is really making it difficult for teams to focus on one or the other.
All right, so it's going to be an interesting defensive effort for the Sows tonight. All right, that's a look at both of our teams. Coming up, Marty and I will take a look at this week's coaches poll for both Division I and Division II. You're listening to the Game of the Week, Sallies versus Smyrna, here on Fox Sports 1290 and watching it live on 302 Sports.
Brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. The best new cars make the best used cars. Get a high-quality, low-mileage Toyota through the Toyota Certified Used Vehicles program. Visit your local Toyota dealer or buyatoyota.com today.
Another RX Watch, brought to you by Onder Law.
Today we need to talk about yet another drug that's hurting our children.
Right. This one is called Zofran, and this story made us sick.
It did. Originally, Zofran was approved by the FDA to relieve nausea suffered by chemotherapy patients.
But then the company got greedy.
Right. To increase profits, they started promoting Zofran to treat nausea during pregnancy, this time with no FDA approval.
Turns out Zofran can cause serious birth defects.
Yep. Heart defects, cleft lip and palate, club feet, even brain damage.
Well, they got caught. In fact, they had to pay $3 billion in fines and criminal penalties for illegally marketing Zofran to pregnant women.
That means if you took Zofran during your pregnancy and your child was born with any kind of birth defect, call Onder Law to file your claim.
But time's running out. So if your child is under 23,
call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH to see if you're eligible.
That's 1-800-RX-WATCH, or go to rxwatch.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey, it's a Butterfinger peanut butter cup.
It's kind of a square though, right?
Sure, square on the outside, but bold on the inside, thanks to smooth peanut butter with crispity, crunchity bits of Butterfinger.
Ah, it's so bold it defies physics by being smooth and crunchy.
So bold, it started a peanut butter cup revolution.
So bold, it broke the internet with a pic of its cup.
So bold,
Can we just eat one?
That's bold.
Smooth and crunchy Butterfinger peanut butter cups. Bolder than bold.
Burger King presents Breakfast Stories. Today's story, Bob and the 2 for $4 croissantwich.
So, here's a doozy. I'm eating my 2 croissantwich for $4, you know? And this lady comes over, making big moon eyes. And I'm like, keep your paws off my other croissantwich, ma'am.
Great story, Bob. Thick-cut bacon and eggs on a flaky croissant. Hey, this is not breakfast. This is a Burger King breakfast. Get 2 croissant sandwiches now for just $4. Only at Burger King. Price participation.
This is the Glasgow Medical Aid Unit's pregame show on Fox Sports 1290, foxsports1290am.com, and 92.9 WRDX HD2. Fox Sports 1290. Fox Sports 1290.
Welcome back to Smyrna, where they're playing the national anthem prior to the Salesianum Smyrna kickoff at 7 o'clock. We will be right back to finish up our Glasgow Medical Aid Unit's pregame show. You're listening to the Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290 and listening to it live on 302 Sports.
Another RX Watch, brought to you by Onder Law.
Today we need to talk about yet another drug that's hurting our children.
Right. This one is called Zofran, and this story made us sick.
It did. Originally, Zofran was approved by the FDA to relieve nausea suffered by chemotherapy patients.
But then the company got greedy.
Right. To increase profits, they started promoting Zofran to treat nausea during pregnancy. This time with no FDA approval.
Turns out Zofran can cause serious birth defects.
Yep, heart defects, cleft lip and palate, club feet, even brain damage.
Well, they got caught. In fact, they had to pay $3 billion in fines and criminal penalties for illegally marketing Zofran to pregnant women.
That means if you took Zofran during your pregnancy and your child was born with any kind of birth defect, call Onder Law to file your claim.
But time's running out. So if your child is under 23,
call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH to see if you're eligible.
That's 1-800-RX-WATCH, or go to rxwatch.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
If your child ever asks, where do sandwiches come from? Tell them the truth. Look them straight in the eyes and tell them, sandwiches come from Arby's. And if they ask where the loaded Italian and its many meats come from, kindly respond, what part of Arby's didn't you understand, Giuseppe? The loaded Italian sandwich. Arby's, we have the meats.
This is the Delaware High School Football Game of the Week pregame show on Fox Sports 1290. Delaware sports play here.
Welcome back to Charles Williams Stadium in Smyrna, where we are a little over 11 minutes before kickoff will occur. The national anthem has been played. The Smyrna cheerleaders are lining up in the the north end zone to our right as we see it, waiting for the presence of their team, the Smyrna Eagles, number one team in the state of Delaware. Marty Sheehan is with me. I'm John Busby, and Benny Pinella is broadcasting back in the studio, and we are hoping that you are enjoying the broadcast on the radio, or if you're watching it live on 302 Sports, Nick Halliday and his crew do a great job as well. Marty, it's time to look at our Division I poll. We want to thank Robert Reed for putting this together for us every week as he does. This is the Fox Sports 1290 and the Delaware Interscholastic Football Coaches Association Coaches Poll after the second week of the season. Top four teams didn't change. Smyrna, Middletown, Sallies, Concord, all with wins. 5 and 6 flip-flop. William Penn losing to Middletown, so they dropped. And Sussex Tech, after a solid win over AI, they defeated Division II Indian River by 20 points. And so the combination of a William Penn loss and a Sussex Tech win, arguably William Penn, not arguably, was playing a better opponent, I believe.
Yes.
So, but let me ask you this question. Middletown's kind of snuck in there, and I don't mean snuck in there, it's kind of sandwiched in there,
yes,
is the word I'm looking for, between Smyrna and Sallies. If this game is close, do Smyrna and Sallies stay or become 1 and 2 no matter what happens to Middletown? Because Middletown is playing Delcastle. We kind of have to assume they're going to beat Delcastle. They haven't won a game yet. Middletown's got 2 blowout wins. So, let's say that Smyrna wins, but Sallies gives them a good game. Does Smyrna leapfrog Middletown, even though Middletown might win?
I think Sallies won't jump Middletown if they lose a close game, only because their first 2 games, they did fight a pretty good Father Judge team who actually followed that up with 2 losses to some pretty decent Pennsylvania teams. But then they really struggled against Caesar Rodney. I actually think for Sallies to move up, they're going to have to win this game, even losing a close one. Drew Fry and that Middletown team have been too impressive so far to drop.
All right, so that will be interesting to see. And again, ours is the coaches poll. It's not you and I sitting down on a Sunday morning and trying to figure that out. Although we talked about that would be fun to do.
That's right.
At some point, if we didn't both have families that care about whether we're home or not on Sunday morning. So those are your top 4. Sussex Tech number 5, William Penn number 6. Sussex Central stays at 7. Appoquinimink stays at 8, despite getting beat very soundly by this Smyrna team. They're going to take on Newark, which moved into the number 9 position, replacing Mount Pleasant. And that, of course, is because Newark beat Mount Mount Pleasant 17-3. So that's a Mount Pleasant team. They got a win over a very weak Brandywine team from what we've seen and from what we've understand. But it's a Mount Pleasant team that everybody thought coming into the season after making the playoffs for the first time in forever last year that they were going to struggle. They lost a lot of athletes off that team, and they have. What do you think about Newark being in the top 10? Really, when their win is against a Mount Pleasant team that, it isn't the Mount Pleasant team that it was last year.
I thought it was kind of generous, but I like the fact that I think part of it's based on defense. I mean, you hold a team to 3 points, and I know Mount Pleasant lost a ton from their offensive production last year, but it was nice to see Coach Zender come out and his team put together a good defensive effort so early in the season. So it'll be interesting to see if they can build. And this is certainly something he can use as motivating factor for his team.
All right, and so Cape Henlopen comes in at number 10. They're 1-1. They were 10 last week. They lost to Oakdale from Maryland. So, they have 2 supposedly easy games coming up against Division II Indian River and a struggling Polytech team despite being a Division I team. So, as has often been the case at Cape Henlopen since I've been doing this, we're not going to know a whole lot about this team until at least halfway through the season.
No, this team always starts out so slow. Coach Colick, they always play this tough schedule early in the season. They start out so weak, and then it becomes a race to November whether or not they're going to rack up enough wins and their opponents won enough games to get into the playoffs. They're repeating the same script again this year.
All right, those of you watching on 302 Sports can see the Smyrna Eagles getting ready to run in. That's number 77, Jaron Carter, big offensive lineman for Smyrna, who's getting ready to carry that flag in. He is one of 3 returning All-State players, Nolan Henderson and Will Knight being the others, first-team All-State, I should say. And what makes that stat so significant, Marty, is that only 6 players from the first-team All-State team last year are back as either juniors or seniors or back for this season. Smyrna has 3 of them.
It's so nice to have that senior leadership coming back and at pretty crucial positions. I mean, you've got one of the better linemen in the state coming back. You've got a quarterback and a running back who are both contenders for Player of the Year, with Will Knight taking that honor. But, yeah, it's so nice to have senior leadership and somebody who can go out and produce and show these young guys what it's all about. And when you have a program like Smyrna that is still attempting to build itself, even though they won the title last year, everything is still so new. They want to make sure they keep this going.
All right, as if on cue, as we move to Division II, Benny Pinella back in the studio. Our producer sends us a text message with a score: Seaford 40, St. Andrews 14. So Seaford is going to pick up its first win of the season after going 0-2 the first 2 weeks and getting beat rather soundly. So good for the Jayhawks down there, or the Blue Jays, yes. I believe is their name, yep. Down there. The Seaford Blue Jays, just done a really nice job. Jerry Cabasa is the athletic director down there. He was brought in to try and turn that program around. Woodbridge stays at the top of the poll. St. George's moves into number 2. They up from 3. They rolled over Howard in a rematch of last year's state title game. I think St. George's might be better than people think. Some people didn't even have them in the top 10 when this season started.
No, I agree. I think they might be better than we think also. I do think, I always text you on Monday about these polls. I do think it's odd that Glasgow gets off to such a strong start and falls. They got to be thinking, oh my God, what do we have to do here? But St. George is an incredibly impressive start to the season.
Coin toss is going on at center field. The coin just went up, and we'll see if we can see who wins the coin toss there. Smyrna has won it. That's Nolan Henderson, and they said they're going to receive. Marty, no surprise there. Smyrna actually wants the ball in their hands.
No, that's amazing. We see all the time now in the college level, in the NFL, everyone defers. Coach Judy says, I want the ball. I don't care what I have to do to get it. Smyrna's offense is great. When they have it, they're trying to score. When they don't have it, they're trying to get it back. And they don't care how they do it. They've got a very ball-hawking type of defense, and right away they want to set the tone with their offensive team on the field.
All right, we're going to continue with the Division II coaches poll during the first quarter as we get into the game a little bit, but first we need to get into the DFRC Blue Gold All-Star Senior Player to Watch. The DFRC, Delaware Foundation for Reaching Citizens with Intellectual Disabilities. This year marks the 62nd annual DFRC Blue Gold All-Star Football Game at Delaware Stadium. For more information, visit dfrcfoundation.org. And our player to watch is cornerback Nolan Henderson of the Smyrna Eagles. There's not much left to say about him. He's already thrown for 480 yards and 7 touchdowns, and as you pointed out, a key stat, 0 interceptions. Smyrna senior Nolan Henderson is our DFRC Blue Gold player to watch. And now it's time for our Arby's weekly picks. Arby's, we've got the meat. Marty, who do you think wins tonight?
The unsung hero of this Smyrna team to me has been the defense. They did such a good job against William Penn and Sally's in the tournament last year. They've only given up 16 points this year, and some of that came in garbage time against Apo last week. I really think they're going to be the ones to put the stamp on this game. I do think Sally's and Zach Gwynn are going to have an effect. They're going to get some points on the board, but I'm going to go with Smyrna 44-31.
All right, I'm going to take Smyrna 48-28. I think they can outscore Sally's, and so I think it's going to be a flip-flop of last year, week 3, when Sally's got the 20-point win. I'm going to go with Smyrna. All right, coming up next, it's kickoff of what people are calling the regular season game of the year, Sally's versus Smyrna. You're listening to it here on Fox Sports 1290 and watching it live on 302 Sports.
This month, Advance Auto Parts is all about the tailgate. Start by getting your ride ready with 5 quarts of Castrol
Benny, can we cut right back after this commercial and then fill in the minutes sometime during the first quarter?
No matter what punishing plays Mother Nature might call. And get a Bluetooth speaker featuring your favorite NFL team to make your tailgate experience complete. Because it's game time. Advance Auto Parts. Let's get you back on the road. Free by mail with purchase of 5 quarts of any Castrol motor oil. While supplies last, see store for details.
This is the 10th anniversary season of high school football on Fox Sports 1290. And now, the Delaware High School football game of the week.
Cooper Urban for Sally's getting ready to boom it, and the lefty drills it, and it's going to go to Letty Brown on his own 3-yard line. He cuts back across the middle, right down the middle of the hash. It breaks away to the 30, to the 35, to the 40, across midfield. One man to beat, gets almost tripped up. Race to the end zone, yard, touchdown score.
Absolutely amazing. You know, right before we went on the air, I was going to say I'll be very surprised if Sally's kicks off to Letty Brown. He did this last week against Appoquinimink. He's probably the most explosive player in high school football right now, with Will Knight running a close second. I am amazed that they literally kicked the ball. He did not have to move to receive that football. It was almost as if Sally's threw a dare out there on the first play, and they got burnt badly.
This is a kid already been offered by Maryland, West Virginia, and Louisville. Just a junior. He came from Red Lion Christian Academy that became Eastern Christian Academy and is now defunct. And now Smyrna is in their 2-point earthquake formation, which we've seen time and time again. And the only thing that's going to stop the Smyrna offense is the fact that they didn't have a game ball on the field. So the referees are taking care of that. And for those of you listening on the radio, this is basically where 9 guys huddle as close as they legally can around the snapped football. And Will Knight, in this case, is going to be the direct recipient of the football. Letty Brown is spread out far to the right. And Will Knight gets it, and he's just going to rumble in behind his tackles and score a touchdown for a 2-point conversion, his 11th of the year. So, with just 16 seconds gone here in the first quarter, Smyrna has sprinted, and I mean literally sprinted, out to an 8-0 lead on Letty Brown's 97-yard touchdown return. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Conquer Pet Foods and Supplies with 29 locations was started here in Delaware by Larry Muchler 35 years ago. Experience the difference at Conquer Pet. Their outstanding staff will help you with everything your pet needs. Plus, the frequent buyer program allows you to earn free food, litter, and more. It's Conquer Pet Foods and Supplies. Online at ConquerPetFoods.com. Go Hens!
Another RX Watch, brought to you by Onder Law.
Today we need to talk about yet another drug that's hurting our children.
Right, this one is called Zofran, and this story made us sick.
It did. Originally, Zofran was approved by the FDA to relieve nausea suffered by chemotherapy patients.
But then the company got greedy.
Right. To increase profits, they started promoting Zofran to treat nausea during pregnancy, this time with no FDA approval.
Turns out Zofran can cause serious birth defects.
Yep, heart defects, cleft lip and palate, club feet, even brain damage.
Well, they got caught. In fact, they had to pay $3 billion in fines and criminal penalties for illegally marketing Zofran to pregnant women.
That means if you took Zofran during your pregnancy and your child was born with any kind of birth defect, call Onder Law to file your claim.
But time's running out. So if your child is under 23,
call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH to see if you're eligible.
That's 1-800-RX-WATCH, or go to rxwatch.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
High school football on Fox Sports 1290, foxsports1290am.com, and iHeartRadio Fox Sports 1290.
As they do so often, Smyrna tried an onside kick following their touchdown. Anthony Buscemi's kick was scooped up by Josh Patrick on the 50-yard line, and the Sows, dressed in their white jerseys, gold pants, and gold helmets, have the ball 1st and 10 on the 50-yard line. The give is to the tailback, Merlino, and he barrels forward. Pickup of about 6 yards, going to bring up actually they're going to give him 7 yards, going to bring up a 2nd and 3.
Good show by the Sal's offensive line there. It's something we saw a lot last week. Nick Merlino cutting right through the middle. It's something the Sal's would love to establish. As you know, they're going to want to shorten this game as much as they can by keeping the ball on the ground.
I formation, Zach Gwynn, the junior quarterback, under center. And that is Peyton Mullen, and Sally's jumps, and it's going to be an illegal motion on the right guard. Looked like that was number 75, Joshua Williams.
And that's just a little anxiousness early in the game. As you said, one of the bigger games in the regular season around here we've seen in a number of years. Smyrna jumping out to a very quick 7-0 lead. You got to know these Sal's kids, the nerves are coming out a little bit. They don't want to make mistakes this early. You don't want to give Smyrna anything.
We talked about the parts that can come in and out here, and already Salvo is in at tailback for Merlino. And the give is to the up back, that's Mullen, and another flag comes out.
Yeah, we had another false start on Salesianum. Actually, they're going to call offsides on Smyrna, okay.
So that's one penalty each.
It's actually very interesting. They stopped that.
Yeah.
The offside was actually down on the near side here. Wasn't someone who was directly involved in the play. I'm actually surprised that they didn't give Sally's a free play on that.
Yeah, no, it is surprising. We'll see here if they can take advantage of it. Gwynn again is under center. And he's going to be the I formation. It's going to be Mullen in the fullback position and Salvo in the tailback position. He's a younger brother of Griffin Salvo, who's now playing up at Ursinus. Mike DiNardo goes in motion and comes back, and the give is to Salvo up the middle, and he picks up about a yard.
That time a really nice job by the Smyrna defensive line. They got early penetration. They got under the Salesianum offensive line on the far side, on the right side of the formation, and that's something saw them do a lot in the first 2 weeks. Sally's, of course, a much, much bigger offensive line, so good start for Smyrna.
Going to bring up a 3rd and 2, so this is a big play for both sides of the ball. You'd have to assume Sally's would need to punt if they don't make this, so also could be a big defensive stop for Smyrna. 3rd and 2 ball on the Smyrna 42-yard line. Smyrna with the 8-0 lead. Gives to Salvo up the middle. He breaks across, cuts back to the 30, to the 20. One man to beat. Salvo is in the end zone. Touchdown, Salesianum.
A great job of the lead blocker for Salesianum, and then the line just opened up. A huge hole in the middle of the field. One cut back toward the right side of the line, and he was gone. Nice job by Salvo. And that's something we've seen him and Merlino. They're very quick slasher-type runners.
So we're only 2 minutes and 11 seconds into this game. And remember, these two teams, when they squared off in week 3 last year, the score was 76-56. We're right on that pace.
Yes,
maybe
we are.
A little bit ahead. So the difference here between these two teams, Smyrna goes for 2 every time, and Salesianum has gone for the extra point kick all season long so far. This is Cooper Urban. He is 5 for 5. The hold is down. The kick is up, and it is no good. So Cooper Urban, the announcer's jinx, misses his first extra point of the season. But with 9:49 left to play, the Sows have struck back, but still trail Smyrna 8-6. You're listening to the Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290 and watching it live on 302 Sports.
Hey, it's a Butterfinger peanut butter cup.
Yeah, kind of a square though, right?
Sure, square on the outside, but bold on the inside, thanks to smooth peanut butter with crispity, crunchity bits of Butterfinger.
Ah, it's so bold it defies physics by being smooth and crunchy.
So bold, it started a peanut butter cup revolution.
So bold, it broke the internet with a pick of its cup.
So bold,
Can we just eat one?
That's bold.
Smooth and crunchy Butterfinger peanut butter cups. Bolder than bold.
Hey, wouldn't you love to see Queen at Wembley? Bruce Springsteen at MSG? What about Nirvana at the Paramount? Well, now you can. Just say hello, Quello. That's Q-E-L-L-O. With a subscription to Quello Concerts, you can watch thousands of the most incredible concerts and music documentaries ever. From your TV or on the go. Just go to Quello.com and get the front row experience of Hendrix, Marley, Pink Floyd, U2, The Who, Zac Brown, Rush, and so much more. You'll be blown away. Go to your app store or go to Quello.com and start your free trial right now. That's Quello.com.
Q-E-L-L-O. From 2007 to 2016, 10 seasons of high school football on Fox Sports 1290 and foxsports1290am.com.
Welcome back to Smyrna, where the Eagles have an 8-6 lead, and it looks like Cooper Urban learned his lesson. After
I'm sure Coach Donato is saying, where was that on the first kickoff of the game?
He boomed it well out of the end zone. It landed on the A in the south end zone. So Nolan Henderson brings out his team. 9:49 to play. Smyrna with an 8-6 lead. Letty Brown is in the backfield, split off to the right. Now moves over to the left of Henderson. 2 wide receivers on each side to give us to Brown up the middle, and he's wrapped up, almost brought down, escapes a second tackle. Now a third tackle. His mouthpiece comes flying out. He's still going. There's no whistle yet, and finally is tripped up at the 44-yard line. John Andreoli, after about 6 missed tackles, made the touchdown.
And you know what's amazing? This is a 15-yard face mask penalty on Sally's. He had his face mask almost yanked completely to the side, broke away from that. I mean, it is nearly impossible to bring this kid down. He is so strong. That play should have been, looks like the referees may now be debating if he got the top of the helmet, not the face mask, but this is one of those plays. It should have been a 4-yard loss for Salesianum, and instead it's a huge gain for Smyrna.
Well, the Smyrna players are clapping and heading back to where the line of scrimmage will be, which looks like it'll be at the 43-yard line. It is a personal foul. Hit to the helmet, I guess, is what that signal was.
And they're actually going to add the 15 to the end of that run. So this is a monster play by Letty Brown. We've got 14 points on the board. Smyrna has only run 1 offensive play, and Letty Brown has already proved he's probably the best player in the state of Delaware right now.
Well, and that's, when you think about it, that's the other guy who's going to line up in that backfield is a first-team offense selection.
The offensive player of the year.
Right, so, go figure how this Smyrna offense is so good. So it's going to be a 1st and 10. Now they are on the Sally's 42-yard line. Same formation, 2 wide receivers to the right and to the left. Letty Brown in the backfield. Henderson with a little hitch over the middle. Brown's wide open to the 10. Touchdown, and just like that, it's 14-6 Smyrna.
You know what? That's just inexcusable. You got Peyton Mullen and Joseph Gormley, the linebackers, looking at each other and putting their arms up. Letty Brown just ran free. Again, we just talked about he's one of the best players in the state. You let him run free out of the backfield into the middle of a wide-open zone, no one there, and that's going to be something they're going to have to get corrected. You've got to account for number 4 back there.
Yeah, we've seen twice now. They kick off right to number 4, and then they leave him wide open in the middle of the field as if he's playing his first game tonight, and you haven't been able to watch him on film. So Bill Donato will certainly get that straightened out quickly, I'm sure. Earthquake formation, Will Knight has it, and he scoots around the left side this time for his 12th 2-point conversion of the season.
They take such pride in that earthquake formation because all it is lining up and saying we're going to put our best and strongest against your best and strongest. That time there's a little bit of a stalemate, but Will Knight is fast enough. He hightails it to the left side, and easy 2 points for Smyrna.
All right, and so we're going to take another quick break. It's 16-6 Smyrna over Sally's here on Fox Sports 1290 and 302 Sports.
Burger King presents Breakfast Stories. Today's story, Bob and the 2 for $4 croissant sandwich.
So, here's a doozy. I'm eating my 2 croissant sandwich for $4, and this lady comes over, making big moon eyes, and I'm like, keep your paws off my other croissant sandwich, man.
Great story, Bob. Thick cut bacon and eggs on a flaky croissant. Hey, this is not breakfast. This is a Burger King breakfast. Get 2 croissant sandwiches now for just $4. Only at Burger King. Price participation valid.
It's hard to miss all the TV lawyer ads. Catchy slogans surround promises of maximum recovery and fighting for your rights. Hi, this is Melissa Rufo of Rufo Associates. We have decades of experience successfully handling injury claims. Our track record with auto accidents, slip and falls, and defective products cases is second to none. We let our results be our slogan. Nobody wants to need a lawyer, but if the need arises, don't take any chances. Get a strong advocate on your side. You need Rufo Associates. Visit rufolaw.com. That's RUFO law.com.
Welcome back to the Delaware High School Football Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290.
Another onside attempt for Smyrna. Doesn't work. It goes right to Josh Patrick, the big tight end for Salesianum, who scoops it up and falls on it at the 50, and so Sally's will pick up the same spot that they started their last offensive drive, which ended with a touchdown on a 42-yard run by Carson Salvo. 16-6, Smyrna leads Sally's. 9:28 to play. John Busby, along with Marty Sheehan, Pinella, back in the studio. Nick Halliday and his crew providing the live stream on 302 Sports. 1st and 10 from the 50. Gwynn under center. He hands it off to the tailback. That's Merlino, and he gets brought down after a gain of 2, tackled by Anthony Delray.
Nice job by Anthony Delray there to come off the line. He fended off his block quickly and got to the running back. Nice job again holding off that Sal's offensive line, not being able to get the big push they're looking for yet.
Tune in to the Blue Hens Football Coaches Show every Wednesday at 7 on 94.7 WDSD as the voice of the Blue Hens, Scott Klatskin, talks UD football with head coach Dave Brock, who, rumor has it, is here tonight watching UD verbally committed Nolan Henderson, the Smyrna quarterback. Gwynn with the fake to Merlino. He looks to his left, looks to his right, gets almost taken down in the backfield. Now he's being chased and brought down by Hunter Moyer, and so a loss of about 4 yards there on what will be considered a sack on Gwynn.
That was a great job by number 20, Jake Kaiser, the defensive back. They were actually looking for a screen pass out of the backfield. He cut that off very quickly and just blew that play up. Gwynn was actually lucky to get back close to the line of scrimmage.
So it's going to bring up a 3rd and 9, ball on the 51-yard line, so just back about a yard. 2 wide passes up and off the chest, trying to get the ball in there to Desmond Bagley, and that was nice coverage there by the Smyrna defensive back. Looked like it might have been Jeremy DeAguiar.
And I'll tell you what, Duran Aku for Smyrna was all over Zach Gwynn on that. Zach Gwynn did a great job just being able to step into that throw. He actually put that throw right on the mark. It was just a nice job covered defensively.
That's going to bring up a 4th. Scoreboard says 6, but according to the yardage marker and me counting it off, it's going to be about a good 6 yards. I'm sorry, the scoreboard said 5. It's going to be 4th and 6, ball on the 34-yard line. They need to get to the 28. And it looks like Sally's coach, Bill DiNardo, is going to take a timeout. We're going to keep it right here. And want to thank big thanks to our newest partner, NKN Films, for their outstanding design on our 2016 high school football schedule poster featuring this year's games and our Fox Sports 10th anniversary team. Want to know who's on that 10th anniversary team? Check out the poster at foxsports1290am.com and visit nknfilms.com for all your video needs. I'll give you a hint. Sally's is represented.
They are well represented.
We've covered quite a few of their games over the 10 years that we've been doing this.
You know, that timeout is an interesting one by Coach DiNardo. Taking it on 4th and 6, you almost get the feeling he considers this a very crucial time of the game. Even though we're barely halfway through the first quarter, you get the feeling they haven't been able to stop Smyrna at all.
No.
Kick return, offense, nothing. So you get the feeling that Coach DiNardo is saying, we've got to put something on the board here to keep pace with them.
And it's not because you want to give your defense a rest. They haven't been
Not
on
at all.
They've been on the field less than the offense.
Exactly.
4th and 6 from the 34. Need to get to the 28-yard line. I formation. Merlino's at the tailback position. Mullen in front of him. Gwynn dropped back in a quick out. A little over the head of Desmond Bagley. Probably could have come down with it, though. Incomplete. And Smyrna's going to take over on downs.
Yeah, Desmond Bagley's probably going to tell you he should have caught that, but it was overthrown by Gwynn just a tad. He did have him wide open, made it a little bit more difficult than it had to be. Not the end of the world for Smyrna, but you don't, or for Salesianum, excuse me. You don't like it because you took the time out to call that play, and they executed it perfectly. The wide receiver was wide open.
Wide open, and if he comes down with it, it's a first down. Instead, it's going to be Smyrna moving from left to right. Will Knight making his first appearance in the backfield, only because they've only run 2 offensive plays. And he's doing basically the same thing Letty Brown did. Fake, and then come back, and this is a little dart out to the right. And a slip away there. Emmett Roberts avoids 2 tackles and finally gets taken out at the 40-yard line.
A great job by Emmett Roberts. I got to tell you, we've watched Salesianum over the years many times. This has to be the worst tackling I've ever seen from a Salesianum team. They are going high on every Smyrna runner who look like they're prepared for it, and they're just shaking these kids off left and right.
And they do the hurry-up offense. Nolan Henderson right back in the shotgun position. Will Knight to his left. 3 wide receivers out to the left. 1 out here to the right. Letty Brown is in the slot. They give it, nope, they fake the Knight, and another quick out to Emmett Roberts. This is a little underthrown, but again, probably should have had it, knelt down. came out of his hands. There is a flag.
Yeah, Letty Brown actually started up out of his stance in the backfield before Henderson received the snap. The referee was looking right at him and threw it as soon as he started to move forward. So the only thing so far that's really slowed down Smyrna is the officials.
I actually thought Letty Brown took a half a step early on his touchdown pass over the middle. I'm not saying that.
I actually did too, but I'm glad you saw that too. He anticipates very well, and if they're not going to call it, you're right, go for it.
And that wouldn't have helped Sally's on defending that. There was nobody within 10 yards of him, and he had to run 20 yards to get where he was. But I did think he moved, and the refs caught it that time. So now it's going to bring up a 2nd and 10. 3 wide receivers out to the left. Letty Brown is in the slot again. Basically the same formation they had before, only Vass has come back on the close side of us, moving left to right. Smyrna is with a 16-6 lead, 6:04 to play. Henderson in the shotgun position. This time he gives it to Knight. Knight tries to get around to the edge. He escapes 3 tackles, 4 tackles, finally brought out of bounds there, and that was William Stradley who took him down, the backup fullback, playing a nice job there at the linebacker position, but not until Knight was able to pick up.
No, and you took the words right out of my mouth. 4 missed tackles by Salesianum. Now, some of this you have to give credit to the runners for Smyrna. They are just doing a great job of keeping their balance and low center of gravity, but Salesianum has got to tackle better.
3rd and 4. 4 wide receivers out to the left. Will Knight in the slot position to the right. They're on the right hash mark. Knight now goes in motion right to left, so there's nobody on the right side outside of Carter. He gives to Knight up the middle, and he scampers for that first down, gets to about the 24-yard line, so it's going to be first down at the 24-yard line for the Eagles.
You know, the Sally's defensive line almost looks like we talked about earlier off the air. With all these screen passes, the defensive line has to stay alert, and they're not really getting a great push, so that Smyrna offensive line is doing a nice job of being the aggressor.
Same formation here on 1st and 10. 4 wide receivers to the left. Will Knight is out onto the right side. Nobody in motion as of yet. Henderson rolls out to the right. He's going to keep it across the 20 to the 15, gets around the edge, knocked out at the 11-yard line there by Michael Drake, but that's going to be another first down for Smyrna.
Here we go again, that you start to wear down a little bit. I don't care who you are. It's still a little hot outside, and they just continue to throw player after player, whether it's Letty Brown, Will Knight, Nolan Henderson, the wide receivers. Just an amazing offensive display here, moving the ball all over the place.
Letty Brown has moved into the backfield, 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line, so they can still pick up a first down inside the 1. There's a little confusion here. Nolan Henderson looking over to the side. He's got 2 wide receivers on each side of him. He's in the shotgun position. Letty Brown shifts from the right side to the left, and I think Brown moved again. It's going to be an offsides call on Brown, or an illegal shift.
Get that corrected. That's the 3rd time you and I have caught him starting early out of the backfield. Now, you know what? That almost makes me think that Sally's possibly alerted to the officials to something, because that's now 3 times that Brown's gotten a lead start.
Brown picked up about 7 or 8 yards on the carry, but that's going to come back. They're asking Bill Donardo if he wants to take the penalty, and he's waving them back.
Yeah, absolutely.
The end zone, the better.
That's exactly it.
All right, a couple scores as they walk that off. Seaford 48, St. Andrews 26. Glasgow leads Hodson 8-0. That's a big game for the Dragons to prove that they belong in that top 10. And that's by Shannon Riley told me that. That's not me saying that. Friends leads Woodbridge 7-0. So upset early in the making there, possibly. Benny Pinella sending us the scores. We appreciate that. Nolan Henderson in the shotgun. 2 wide receivers out to the right, 1 to the left. Letty Brown hands it off. Henderson whips it out to Will Knight, and he drops it. And in pursuit there was Michael Drake. And Knight, I think, lifted his head up to look for the would-be tackler before he secured that ball.
Yeah, rare drop there for Will Knight. Saw the tackler coming. That was also nice pressure on Henderson by Salesianum. The first time they've really been able to get in his face as he's throwing the football.
So that's going to be a 2nd and 15, ball on the 16. Letty Brown is set up in the slot on the left. 2 wide receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Will Knight is one of them here on closest to us on Henderson's right. Henderson drops back. He fakes the hitch, and he goes over the middle. Letty Brown is wide open. Touchdown. So a 16-yard touchdown from Henderson to Brown. And just like that, it is 22-6.
You know, John Andrioli, that was a great job by Henderson. He actually looked off the defensive back, Andrioli, got him drifting to the left side, left Letty Brown wide open. And again, if you're Andrioli, you can't leave one of the best players on the field no matter what you see the quarterback doing. That's where the discipline against this offense has to come into play.
And that's going to bring on the earthquake formation. This time the ball's going to be snapped tonight, but he's got Letty Brown in the backfield with him. Now Letty Brown sprints out. Drake has to follow him, and that just allows Will Knight to rumble in.
That was just too easy.
The end zone untouched. So just like that, it is 24-6. Smyrna leads Sally's. We're going to take a break. You're listening to the Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290 and watching it live on 302 Sports.
And supplies with 29 locations was started here in Delaware by Larry Muchler 35 years ago. Experience the difference at Concord Pet. Their outstanding staff will help you with everything your pet needs. Plus, the frequent buyer program allows you to earn free food, litter, and more. It's Concord Pet Foods and Supplies. Online at ConcordPetFoods.com. Go Hens!
High school football on Fox Sports 1290, FoxSports1290AM.com, and iHeartRadio Fox Sports 1290.
John Busby along with Marty Sheehan. It's 24-6. Smyrna has scored on all three possessions. Letty Brown has all three touchdowns, a 97-yard kickoff return to open up the game, a 42-yard touchdown pass from Nolan Henderson, and a 16-yard touchdown pass from Nolan Henderson as well. A little squib kick by Buscemi this time, rolls out of bounds. So there's going to be a penalty there. That's going to move the ball up, but it still won't move it up as far as the 50-yard line, which is where Sally's has started the last two times.
No, I think Coach Judy, frankly, could care less where Salesianum starts on offense. As long as they get the ball back on offense at some point, it seems to be his philosophy. Actually, the first mistake really of the game for Smyrna there, kicking it out of bounds. You never want to do that. That chance to pin Sally's pretty deep. Still, as you said, nowhere near where they've been getting the ball at the 50-yard line for the two starts.
So Sally's is going to have the ball on the 35-yard line, 1st and 10. A lot of people would say at this point this is almost a must-score situation, but when you think back to last year's game that went 76-56 and went back and forth early on, and Smyrna trailed big early on and had to come back. So I don't think Mike Judy has told his players anything but go out there and keep playing hard. Quick out that time. It looks like that's to DiNardo, the coach's son, and he gets wrapped up after picking up, it looks like, about a yard.
That's just that opportunistic Smyrna defense. They're so quick. They've got much more speed than they've had in years past. And as we talked about before, their guys only play one way. So whenever you see this defense out there, they're all fresh. None of these guys are playing on the offense. They may play some special teams, but primarily they're just playing on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and that's what Mike Judy told us earlier in the week, is he does have some players that will be on the special teams, but nobody plays on offense and defense unless there's a special situation or an injury or something like that. All right, I formation. The give is to Merlino, the tailback, and he breaks a tackle there and bursts over close to the 50-yard line. They're going to give him to about the 49.5, but it's going to be a first down. A nice run there by Merlino.
Great individual effort there by Merlino. Once again, he's the kind of the go-to guy that's able to give them a lift when they need it. A nice hole open on the right side by the Salesianum line, but Merlino was contacted as soon as he got to the line, and a nice individual effort to break that tackle.
So Sally's is going to have it 1st and 10 on the right hash mark. They're moving right to left. 4:13 to play. 24-6. Smyrna. Number 1 Smyrna, I should say, leading number 2 Sally's. Looked like the wide receiver over there moved, Michael Drake, and he knew it. He went down as if he was going to go, got up, and the flag was thrown.
Yeah, Michael Drake. I wonder where that play was going. Getting an early start on things there. I'm not sure if he was throwing a block on that side or if the ball was coming his way, but a little anxious.
So 3 penalties apiece for both these teams, and we're still have 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Out-of-town scoreboard, Benny sending us some text. Conrad 7, St. E's 7. Marty, you and I talked about this is a big game for St. E's after a huge lopsided win against McCain. They went down and lost last week.
Very big. They have to win this if they want to maintain their playoff hopes.
1st and 10 on the 15 here at Smyrna. Sally's has the ball moving right to left, trailing 24-6. I formation, 1 wide receiver on each side of Zach Gwynn, who is under center. The give is to Merlino, the tailback, and he picks up about 3 yards. And he is brought down there by the Smyrna defender. It looks like Anthony Delray. We've called his number.
job for this team all season. He's shown really well on tape in the first 2 games as well. This is something that they show a lot of movement. In last year, I noticed one thing on tape with Smyrna defense. They do a lot of pre-snap movement just to get the offensive line not able to set and pick up who they're going to go after. So nice job by Smyrna D.
2nd and 12, ball on the 48-yard line. Sally's is now on the right hash mark. 2 wide receivers out to the left. They give it to Merlino again, and he breaks through and gets back to what was the second original line of scrimmage before the penalty, and so he's going to be at the 50-yard line, going to bring up a 3rd and 10.
This is an interesting philosophy by DiNardo so far. I mean, they're running the ball more, not necessarily, I didn't think they'd run the ball. I thought they might try to mix in some screens and maybe, do some trap plays. They seem to be straight up the middle with most of these plays, not with much success thus far.
And so it's going to bring up a 3rd and 10, ball on the 50-yard line. Fake blitz there by the Smyrna safety. The fake handoff. Gwynn rolls right. He's being chased by Delray. He gets it away, and it's tapped away there by Joshua Hudson. Gwynn was trying to get it to his big tight end, Josh Patrick, to no avail. Is going to bring up a 4th and 10.
Josh Hutchinson did such a great job for this defense last year, and it was with plays like that. I mean, he undercut the receiver. That's one of those decisions Gwynn made in the first game of the season that it kind of made me cringe as they watched them. That play was undercut by Hutchinson from the beginning. That ball has to be thrown out of bounds if you're Gwynn.
That's going to bring in the punting unit for Sally's. They're going to be kicking from their own 50. Guess who has dropped back to get this punt?
There's that man again.
There's that man, Letty Brown, already with 3 scores tonight. A Crown Trophy Player of the Game alert for you, Mr. Sheehan. It's Cooper is back. I'm sorry, it is... Yeah, that is Cooper back to kick. Left-handed kick, and he's kicked it away from Brown, and it's going to bounce and just land out of bounds at about the 21, maybe the 22-yard line. They're going to mark it at the 22-yard line. So the Smyrna offense back on the field, starting at their own 22-yard line.
Nice job there by Cooper Urban. All things considered, that's not a bad. This is the worst starting position Smyrna has had so far. And, Urban a little shaky on the snap there, something we saw last week as well. Be interesting to see if Smyrna picks up on that and starts to go after some of those.
2:14 to play. Smyrna with the ball and a 24-6 lead. Moving left to right as we see it. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan, Benny Pinella back in the studio. We're listening to it live on Fox Sports 90 or watching it on the live stream at 302 Sports. 3 wide receivers out to the right, 2 to the left. Henderson in the backfield in the shotgun position by himself. He hitches out to the right. A flag is down. Henderson rolls, and he's looking for a block from Vass. He gets it, and Henderson tiptoes out of bounds just shy of the 34-yard line. We'll see what this is about. It looks like it's going to be a penalty based on the reaction of the coaching staff of Smyrna after the referee's explanation. It's going to be against Smyrna.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that call was. We haven't seen the indication from the official yet. Nice job by Henderson to pick up some yards there and get the block from his wide receiver.
Well, we still don't have any indication of what the flag was. The referee has picked the flag up, but he has not made the signal that the penalty is being waved off. So either way, Smyrna has taken a timeout. We're going to keep it right here. Go ahead.
You know what, actually, I just saw the referees talking to Coach Judy. They're calling an illegal formation, and we saw there was a lot of confusion setting up the wide receivers. Apparently somebody was covered up that shouldn't have been at the end of that line with Letty Brown. It actually looks like, you got to remember, Letty Brown hasn't been with this team all that long. So he may not know all the plays. He's been confused on 2 offensive sets so far, but it looked like that may have been the call there. But if you're Coach Judy, that's just 5 more yards your offense is going to get at some point in his mind.
If you just tuned in and you're wondering who Letty Brown is, besides the fact that he scored all 3 touchdowns, literally almost and I think he's touched the ball maybe 4 times.
Yes.
So he's 3 for 4 scoring touchdowns when he touches the ball. He's a kid who went to Eastern Christian Academy, which was that national powerhouse that was formed out of the Red Lion Christian program. Everybody, high school football fans remember that story. Yes. I'm not going to get into it. But anyway, that school has closed, which many people predicted would happen. And so anyway, a lot of kids are going a lot of places here in the state of Delaware. Letty Brown landed here. He's only a junior. He's already got offers from Louisville, Maryland
and West Virginia.
So this kid is for real. And as we pointed out on the pregame show, the biggest difference having him is that going into week 3 last year, Will Knight had already carried the ball 24 times, which isn't a ton if you're the key back. No. But it's still 24 times. This year, just 8 because of the presence of Letty Brown. 1st and 15, ball on the Smyrna 17-yard line. 3 wide receivers out to the right. Henderson fakes it, and it's a little bubble screen inside to Will Knight. Will Knight has it, and he's dragged down from behind by Desmond Bagley, but not before he gets to the 30-yard line.
We've seen that play so many times from the Smyrna offense. They love to run tons of different screen passes. That one just real quick, Will Knight came off the line, turned around. The Salesianum defense, because of the speed, has to play so far off of the Smyrna wide receivers.
All right, at least for now, for the first time, Henderson's got both his halfbacks, Knight and Brown, split behind him. It is 2nd and 2. The ball is on the 30-yard line. Henderson looks like he's changing the play at the line of scrimmage. The first-team All-State player last year, heading to the University of Delaware next season. 24-6, Smyrna with a lead. It's a double fake. Henderson rolls out, tucks it. Now he looks like he's going to pass it, and then he scampers out of bounds. No, he's still in, and finally gets pushed out of bounds by Dominic Giordano, but not until he gets to the 45-yard line. First down, Smyrna.
You know, University of Delaware fans, we talked about Dave Brock being here. They have a quarterback right now who operates much in the same fashion in Joe Walker. That's what you're going to get with a kid like Henderson. Not only can he chuck the football, he actually has some pretty good wheels. He's a very good athlete.
1st and 10 for Smyrna, ball on the 45-yard line. 1:11 still to play in what seems like a very long first quarter. 30 points on the board, and that might be why. There's a flag on the field. I don't know if the ref has misplaced it because they haven't stopped the play. Henderson gets the snap. He winds around to the right. Josh Patrick wraps him up and holds on to him, which gives Casey Spink the opportunity to get over there, and there is a flag on the play.
I'm guessing that's going to be on the Smyrna sideline. That was thrown before they actually even snapped the football. Actually, as soon as they lined up.
Yeah, and actually, Mike Judy is talking to his assistant coaches, so maybe one of them accidentally stepped onto the field.
Yeah.
You know, once you come, I think basically once you're out of the huddle, coaches aren't supposed to be on the field, and since Smyrna doesn't huddle, there should never be a coach on the field. We'll see if we get the signal. No signal. The ref hasn't given us a signal all night, other than the hit to the head.
The ref's like, it's too hot out
here. We're going to call it a sideline penalty since that's what we think it was. And that's going to bring up a 2nd and 16.
Yeah, the question is going to be whether, because Henderson got, it should be 2nd down exactly. I guess and they've now changed it. They've taken the play away, so it's going to be 1st and 50 because Sally's took the penalty instead of the play, which frankly I don't understand. I think you would have taken the play on that
down, right. All right. Anyway, Smyrna 1st and 10, ball on the 39-yard line. 3 wide receivers out to the left, 2 to the right. Henderson with a quick drop over the middle. This one's batted up into the air and intercepted by Sally's. Bill Stradley comes down with the tip ball, and finally a break goes in favor of Sally's.
That was a great job, and I'm not sure. It looked like maybe Brandon Cervenak got his hand up to bat that football right on time, the break that Sally's needed. And Letty Brown, again, was wide open on that play. A great job by whoever got their hand up to tip that for Salesianum.
And that is Nolan's first interception of the year. And, you know, it is an interception.
That's a tough one, you're right.
It's a tough one when the ball gets tipped high in the air. And any couple of Sally's guys could have come down with it. It was Bill Stradley. So with 59 seconds to play, trailing 24-6, Sally's moving right to left on the Smyrna 45-yard line. A fake to Merlino, play-action pass. Gwynn is looking deep and overthrows everybody. Closest guy to that ball was Larson Wilson, the defensive back for Smyrna.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to pick on Zach Gwynn, but again, you cannot throw that football. There was no one open on that play. There was what equates to about triple coverage back there, including one man who was just playing center field, and frankly, I'm surprised that ball wasn't picked off. It looked like Larson Wilson had a chance to get to that, kind of let it go over his head at the last second.
Yeah, I think if he had acted like a wide receiver and taken a run toward the ball instead of playing like a center fielder and trying to catch a fly ball, he might have gotten to it because it only went a couple feet over his head. 2nd and 10, ball on the 45-yard line. Right between the hash marks, I formation. Merlino is the tailback. Mullen leads him. No, that's Salvo back in the game. He's got the only touchdown for Sally's, and he's brought down after a pickup of about 3. Tackle on the play by Joshua Hutchison.
And all of a sudden, Salesianum finding real tough sledding there. Salvo is a real quick slashing runner. Nice job to pick up 2 there, but you got to figure almost that they're in 4-down territory for Salesianum.
Yeah, 28 seconds to play here. We'll see if they try to get a playoff. There's no wind conditions here tonight. The temperature's probably in about the high 70s right about now. It was a real feel in the 80s when we started. 18 seconds to play. I formation. 1 wide receiver out to the right. That is Hahn, who goes in motion from the slot, and he turns around and goes the other direction to give us to Salvo up the middle, and he is tackled by Daniel Quiros after he gets to about the 40-yard line, a pickup of 2, and that's going to bring us to the end of the first quarter. The Smyrna Eagles have a 24-6 lead. It's 1 versus 2. Smyrna has the advantage right now. You're listening to the Fox Sports Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290 and watching it live on 302 Sports.
If a child ever asks, where do sandwiches come from? Tell them the truth. Look them straight in the eyes and tell them, sandwiches come from Arby's. And if they ask where the loaded Italian and its many meats come from, kindly respond, what part of Arby's didn't you understand, Giuseppe? The loaded Italian sandwich. Arby's, we have the meats.
From 2007 to 2016, 10 seasons of high school football on Fox Sports 1290 and foxsports1290am.com.
Welcome back to Charles Williams Stadium here in Smyrna. The Eagles have a 24-6 lead. We're getting ready to start the second quarter. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan. Benny Pinella back in the studio producing for Fox Sports. Nick Halliday and his crew here if you're watching the live stream on 302. Letty Brown has 3 touchdowns for Smyrna, and Cooper Urban's getting ready to punt this away. 4th and 5 from the Smyrna 40. Back deep is none other than Letty Brown. The left-footed Cooper boots it, and Brown is just going to drift over and watch it bounce out of bounds at about the 11-yard line, so Smyrna is going to take over.
Yeah, Brown's given Cooper Urban a lot of credit. We haven't seen, he's got a great leg on kickoffs, but we haven't seen him go very deep on punts in the first 2 games. You may start to see Letty Brown move up if Salesianum continues to punt. At some point, if Smyrna keeps putting up these numbers, Salesianum's going to get to a point where they can't punt.
And Cooper Irvin, like you said, he's given Letty Brown, he's not punting the ball out of bounds.
No, he's not.
You know, Letty Brown, if he moves quickly or sets himself up right, could get under one of these balls, but then again, nothing wrong with putting the offense on the field.
Not at all.
1st and 10, ball on their own 12-yard line. 3 wide receivers out to the right. It looks like Brown is in the backfield, just off to the right of Nolan Henderson, and that is Whaley off to the left, and Brown up the middle goes untouched so far across the 20. He gets around the left out of bounds. A nice tackle there for Sally by John Andrioli, but not until Letty Brown picks up the first down. Every time this guy touches the ball, good things happen.
He's just electric, and that's a great job of Andrioli. Pursuit from the far side of the field to cut down Letty Brown. But, you know, just that little pitch play in the backfield we've seen from Smyrna many times. And, again, they're just so quick, and they're really doing a nice job on that Smyrna offensive line. They're bigger than people might expect.
Letty Brown just grabbed both his hamstrings as if he was cramping up. He is still in the game. We'll keep an eye on that. 3 wide receivers out to the right. 1st and 10 from their own 30-yard line. Henderson in the shotgun. Brown off to his right. It's a fake to Brown. Henderson whips it out. He's got his man. That's Emmett Roberts, but he's quickly taken out of bounds there by Desmond Bagley. So they pick up about 5 yards. Nice defensive play there by Sally's.
That was a nice job by the Sally's defensive backs. That ball kind of felt like it hung up in the air a little bit on Nolan Henderson. Don't look like he exactly was able to get everything he wanted on that ball. But you're right, and after the play, again, just to pick on what you said, Letty Brown kind of did the same thing again with the legs.
Roberts with his first catch of this game, 3rd catch overall. He had 2 catches, 64 yards, and a touchdown coming into tonight's game. 2nd and 3, ball on the 37-yard line. 2 wide receivers on each side. It's Will Knight in the backfield now. They give it to him. Then he passes it quickly out to his receiver across the 40, cuts back to the 45 over the 50-yard line. That's Keshawn Tolbert, who, as you pointed out, leads the team in carries coming into tonight's game.
Believe it or not, he is the leading rusher on this team coming into tonight's game, to Keshawn Tolbert. And we saw that, by the way, Will Knight already has a touchdown pass out of that earthquake formation, which he threw to a defensive lineman earlier.
Yeah, and that was a deep play to watch.
It was.
So it brings up it's a first down. Ball on the 48, Smyrna 24-6 lead, 10:41 to play here in the second quarter. Both backs in the backfield. Fake to one, give to the other. That's Will Knight, and he's dragged down nicely. A nice tackle there. Shoestring tackle by Bill Stradley.
Best tackle we've seen of the night by Bill Stradley. You got to get low on a kid like Will Knight. He's got that low center of gravity. You just look at his legs. He's so thick in the thigh area. He's going to break out of those tackles if you try to get him around the hamstring. Great job by Stradley to go low.
Pickup of about 4, going to bring up a 2nd and 6 on the 44-yard line, the Sally's 44-yard line. It looks like Letty Brown is trying to run those cramps off, but hey, when you can replace Letty Brown with first-team All-State selection Will Knight, that's not a bad. Quick out to the right side, that's Emmett Roberts again, same plan, he's just right. Emmett Roberts tiptoes around the defender to the 15, 10, 5, touchdown. Emmett Roberts, a 44-yard scamper into the end zone.
Wow, that was Garrett Millian, the defensive back, who actually just fell for the quickest little juke step, and all of a sudden it was off to the races for Smyrna and Emmett Roberts. A really nice job. Another one of those guys with a ton of speed. Hey, take Letty Brown out of the game with cramps. Who cares? We got 15 other pieces we can throw to out there. A lot of great athletes on this Smyrna team.
30-6. The earthquake formation is coming up. 9:53 to play here, right in the second quarter, and it's hard to believe we're a couple touchdowns away from a running clock. You don't see that often against Sally's. I don't know if you've ever seen it in the last decade that I've been doing this. I know you haven't. Earthquake formation, and snap goes to Knight, and he kind of throws an alley-oop pass over the middle. It's incomplete. He was trying to hit Jameer Smith, who's the kid that caught the touchdown out of the earthquake formation. That wasn't a two-point conversion. Earlier in the year, we saw that on tape, and so that one didn't fool anybody.
No,
because Bill Denardo saw that on tape.
That's exactly it. You took the words out of my mouth. That was clearly a case where they saw Smith was going to go out for the pass. They had a lineman follow him, and nice job to break that up. And for the first time when they've had an opportunity, Smyrna's been denied points.
So we're going to keep it right here. 9:53 to play. Smyrna has a 30-6 lead, and we got some out-of-town scores coming in. Cape Henlopen leads Indian River 13-8. St. E's, your alma mater, 21-7 over Conrad. So that's good news for you, Marty. Woodbridge has a 7-6 lead over Friends. Glasgow Hodson still 8-0. So thanks to Benny for giving us those scores.
You know, I do want to point out, mentioning St. Elizabeth, Zach Gwynn is actually the son of a kid I went to school with, Jason Gwynn, who was the St. Elizabeth quarterback in the early 90s, so he's got good bloodlines.
That's going to make you feel old, though, if you're
yes,
kids you went to school where they're playing football here. All right, so kickoff for Smyrna. We'll see what they do. Buscemi, a little pooch kick out there, and Sally's hauls it in. That's John Hahn, and he gets brought down at about the 42-yard line. Tackle made by Jeremy DeAguiar.
You know, it's just so funny. Their philosophy on kickoffs, Mike Judy really doesn't care where the ball goes. He just doesn't want a break return for a touchdown. So they're never going to kick the ball deep. They're going to either onside kick or do one of those little pooch kicks. Either way, he has enough confidence in his defense and also his offense to not worry about where they take over.
9:49 to play. Smyrna with a 30-6 lead. Sally's has the ball on their own 44-yard line. Two receivers out to the right. Formation as they've done most of the game. The give is to Merlino, the tailback. He follows Mullen's block up the middle and gets to about the 48-yard line, so we'll give him 4 yards.
Merlino hits that hole so quickly. We saw so many times last week against CR where he did that. He was a little deeper into the secondary course, but Smyrna's done a really nice job of limiting no big plays from Salesianum. He's having to break through that second level of the Smyrna defense.
And that's a perfect point. I was just going to say that the difference between the defenses Sally faced last week or the defense in this week is when Merlino broke through that first line, he was able to break to the second line, through the second line. That hasn't happened here tonight. 2nd and 6, moving left to right from their own left hash. Sally's the ball, whips it out, Gwynn, and overthrows. It was Denardo, the coach's youngest son, who he was trying to hit. That's going to bring up a 3rd and 6.
A little pressure that time on Zach Gwynn, but yeah, trying to get the ball out to Michael Denardo, who really was electric every time he touched the ball last week. I believe that's one of the first times they've tried to get the ball in his hands tonight. They really haven't had much of an opportunity to get the ball out on the edges. But nice job again by the Smyrna defense. They're just not letting anything get past them.
So it's going to bring up a 3rd and 6. Ball on their own 48-yard line at the left hash. Mullen is lining up in the slot on the left side. One wide receiver out to the right. Actually, guys in both slots. Mullen goes in motion. The fake is to him, and Gwynn keeps it and has a first down. up to the 42-yard line of Smyrna.
I love that play call. It's the second time now that Gwynn's gotten the ball. It's just not something they've put on tape very often, so it's not something Coach Judy has seen a lot. And give credit to Gwynn. He's a tough kid. He's not the biggest kid. He does have some decent size, but he puts his head down, holds onto the football, which is one of the more important aspects of that.
So first down, Sally's. They're in Smyrna territory on the 43-yard line with 8:45 to play here in the second quarter. Sally's trails 30-6, desperately trying to get back on the scoreboard again. They scored on their first drive, a 42-yard scamper by Carson Salvo. Pike is back to Gwynn, and he hands it off to Merlino, and Merlino gets crunched in the backfield there and taken down by a host of Sally's.
Nothing there.
Or Smyrna defenders, I should say.
Yeah, there was about 8 guys in the box there for Smyrna that time. Just not much of an opportunity to get anything going. Sally's has run this formation very often in their history, but against Smyrna, their defense is so quick. And again, their kids are bigger, which we heard Coach Judy tell us. They're bigger than they have been in the past. And normally you would figure Salesianum line would be able to blast through a smaller school, but Smyrna's not been that way.
They gave Merlino the line forward progress back to the original line of scrimmage, so it's going to ring up a 2nd and 10 on the 48. I formation, 2 wide receivers out to the left. It's a fake to Merlino, and Bernardo gets it on the sweep around the side, and he is hit hard by Josh Hutchinson and taken down at the line of scrimmage.
That's Josh Hutchinson. That's a big Josh Hutchinson play right there. We saw him do that many, many times last year, and he's one of the quicker guys. He had a great read and recognition from Josh Hutchinson, one of the better linebackers in the state. That actually looked like it had a lot of promise, that play, and Hutchinson just blew it up with a great tackle.
So a nice job there by the Smyrna D. You could hear the crowd erupting here. Great crowd on both sides. We haven't been told it's an official sellout yet, but there's not many seats left.
No, and all the temporary seating appears to be taken up as well.
And the line along the fence is 3 or 4 deep on both sides. Anywhere you're allowed to stand, there's people lined up. So great atmosphere on a Friday night. Sally's 3rd and 10. Ball on the Smyrna 43. I formation. Ball's on the right hash. To gives to Merlino over the left tackle, and he's taken down. Maybe picked up a yard. Going to bring up a 4th and 9.
Great penetration by the Smyrna defensive line. Again, Sally seems to be having the most success when they're using that misdirection. They're just not doing enough of it at this point to have a big impact. And again, I'm kind of surprised, but the punt team, I know you don't want to give Smyrna the opportunity to take over close to midfield, but still surprised they're punting.
Well, they're at least going to line up to punt, we'll say. And it is 4th and 10, so it's definitely a punting situation. Letty Brown is lined up back on his own 12-yard line, and now he's backed up just a little bit to his 10, and that's the point where he knows if it goes over his head, he's just supposed to let it go. We'll see. Cooper Irvin booms at a spiraling kick that does go over his head. Letty Brown goes back and catches it on the goal line, goes up to the right to the 10, up to the 15, scampers back and gets taken down at about the 14-yard line, and a flag comes flying in.
Hit, yeah, a late hit possibly on Salesianum came in there. I got to tell you again, I don't understand the philosophy of kicking the ball directly to Brown. I mean, it's almost like you're rolling the dice and see what happens. That time they did do a nice job on punt coverage.
Well, and Letty Brown caught it on his own goal line, which breaks every rule.
Yes,
catching
that's
punt
exactly it.
At any level. But he still manages to get it out to what's right now the 14-yard line. We're waiting for the signal from
this
the referee.
Is actually going to be on Smyrna. It looks like a half the distance to the goal penalty, so I apologize. It was actually looked like maybe a personal foul on Smyrna at the end of that play.
Yeah, I think it actually was an illegal block. That was the signal that they gave. It looked like a personal foul from our angle, but I think I heard the PA announcer say that it was an illegal block. So Smyrna's going to be backed up in its worst starting position of the day. They're going to be on their own 6-yard line with 6:08 to play here. And I don't think Mike Judy or anybody else that knows the Smyrna offense is overly concerned with how far they have to go.
Just took the words out of my mouth.
4 wide receivers to the left. Will Knight, the only man on the right, has now gone in motion and lined up behind Henderson, and he gets the handoff, and he sprints up the middle to the 30 and is brought down by Josh Patrick. Otherwise, it would have been another Smyrna touchdown.
That is just a simple inside handoff, a little isolation play, and such burst and such a nice job by the Smyrna offensive line. And then the runner, great individual effort from all of these runners, whether it be the wide receivers or the running backs from Smyrna.
And you know what, Marty, we saw this on tape.
We did.
This isn't something that's all of a sudden happening tonight. No. This is how Smyrna played. Our only question was, could they do it against the legitimate top 10 team?
That's it.
They've answered our questions. 1st and 10, ball on the 32-yard line. Henderson in the shotgun. shotgun position. The fake is underneath, and instead they whip it out to Whaley, who's getting his first catch of the night, and he gets up to the 40-yard line, brought down by Stradley and also Carson Salvo from Sally's.
Yeah, nice job by the Sally's defensive backs there to stop that play before it could get going. Stephen Whaley, the first time we've seen him, he's another guy, only a sophomore, very good speed, runs good routes, going to be one of their centerpieces of their future.
Whaley came in with 3 receptions for 37 yards, so that's his 4th catch on the season for Smyrna. They're lined up on the left hash mark, a 2nd and 2. Ball is on the 40-yard line. 2 wide receivers out to the right. It's a fake flip by Henderson, and he's going to get barreled underneath. Nice pressure there by the Sally's defense. That was Liam Mulvena who made the first contact, and Stradley came in and cleaned it up.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was on purpose or not. I don't know why you would do a fake pitch when you're the only one in the backfield. It almost looked like maybe Letty Brown was not supposed to take off when he did, because all it did was give the Salesianum defense more time to get to Henderson. First time, by the way, we've really seen great pressure by the Sally's defense.
3rd and 11. They're pushed back onto their own 30-yard line. A fake blitz there by Liam Mulvena, and Henderson comes up out of his shotgun position and looks over to the sideline. They hold up the signal. Signage gives them the play that they're going to call. There's 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. The Brown and Knight are in the backfield. And it's a fake. Nope, they give it to Knight, and he's brought down nicely in the backfield there by the Smyrna linebacker, trying to get a number on him as they unpile. Maybe you saw it, Marty.
That was actually number 33, William Stradley, that ducked in there and stopped that play. A nice job to blow that up. But one of the first times we've seen Knight get the ball and just not be able to go anywhere. He didn't even get a chance to make a cut.
So that's going to bring up a 4th down and 11. No surprise, Smyrna going for it. Mike Judy has a lot of confidence in his defense. Henderson's going to roll out, and now he punts it, and we've seen Henderson do that before. Punt is away, and it takes a Smyrna bounce. And so a great play by Henderson there, great punt, and it's going to be covered at the 9-yard line.
That is just a great job by Henderson. You know, reminds me of the old Randall Cunningham days at the Eagles when he would roll out in that little rugby punt there. Great job. Henderson's such a weapon for this team, and, you know, just what the doctor ordered for Sal's, they stop Smyrna and start extremely deep in their own territory.
3:35 to play. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan. Benny Pinella producing back in the studio. Smyrna has a 36 lead, but they've pushed Sally's. I should say they punted Sally's back to their own 9-yard line. Bill DiNardo desperately wants to get something going here. Sally's has done nothing since the first series for their first possession of the game when Carson Salvo scampered 42 yards to a touchdown. We thought we were going to see an exchange of touchdowns.
Shootout, yep.
And that hasn't happened. The shootout part has happened only for Smyrna. Left hash mark, and the give is to the up back. That's Mullen, and he scampers forward for a pickup of about 7 yards. Going to bring up a 2nd and 3, 3:25 to play.
Nice job by Peyton Mullen. He's not a kid who's going to break away and then run for a touchdown out of that, but he will be able to get you some nice yards. We've seen him against CR get 5-6 yards a pop every time he touched the football, so just nice at this point to get some positive yardage. If you're Sally's, even if you don't score here, you don't want to give the ball back to Smyrna with any appreciable time on the clock.
And that's why I won't be surprised if they run every play as long as they can pick up a few first downs. We're at the 3-minute mark. I formation, Mullen up front. That's Merlino behind him. Hahn goes in motion left to right. Now he's going back to the left side. The give is to Merlino. He follows Mullen's black, and sorry, that's Salvo. Salvo kicks it up, drops it, and it's picked up by Smyrna, and that's big number 88, Jameer Smith, who rumbles toward the end zone, gets knocked down at about the 5, so a fumble by Salvo, and exactly like you said, the last thing you want to do is give it back.
No, and you know, Merlino, when you start to do that spin move in the middle of an opportunistic defense where the hands are flying, that's going to happen from time to time. It's a shame for Merlino to turn it over there. And Jameer Smith, my goodness, that kid smells the end zone. He doesn't want to give it up. It took half the Sally's defense or offense to bring him down.
So Smyrna's going to have it on the 5-yard line there on the fumble by Salvo. Will Knight is in the backfield by himself to receive this snap. 4 wide receivers out to the right. Will Knight, a little hitch move to the right to get the defense, and he scampers around the left corner. Touchdown, Will Knight.
That is just unreal. That was Peyton Mullen, who had an absolute beat on him. He had the angle, and Will Knight didn't pay any mind to him and just tore off around the left end for the touchdown. just such speed there. Peyton Mullen just no match for Will Knight on the corner. And again, with all these weapons for Smyrna, it's scary how good this offense is.
So 36-6, Smyrna now leads, and they've shown, and they've now scored another way. You know, we've seen, that's the thing. Smyrna's not scoring the same way time after time. They've got 5 touchdowns now, and they've done it through the air. They've done it on the ground. They've had 2 people do it on the ground. They've had somebody bring it back on a kickoff return. And here's the earthquake formation. Letty Brown goes out to the right. Will Knight has it, trying to scamper in for the 13th 2-point conversion of the season. And as you would expect, it's good. It's 38-6. Smyrna leading Sally's with 2:38 to play. We're going to keep it right here. And reminder that coming up on the Fox Sports 1290 AM halftime report, our producer and studio host, Benny Pinella, will have football news and scores, along with a preview of the weekend's matchups ahead. Plus, we'll be back with a review of the first 24 minutes of actions. It's all coming up at the half. And we got a lot to talk about when we come back after the half, mostly about this Smyrna offense.
That's right. I mean, and this is something, again, that there's no surprises. We've seen this on tape all the time from Smyrna. And frankly, the score's not a surprise. You and I thought Smyrna was going to rack up a ton of points. What we didn't see coming was the inability of the Salesianum offense to offer any resistance. And they had that first touchdown where Salvo just sprinted through the defense. We thought, oh, here we go again, just like last year. It hasn't worked like that. Smyrna defense has really stepped up.
And Mike Judy takes great pride in the defense.
Yes, he does.
Talked about how they knew and they learned from this Sally's team that lit them up for 76 points last year, that if we're going to be a legitimate powerhouse, we've got to be able to hold teams down no matter how many we score. And tonight they're showing that that's exactly what they focused on. Buscemi getting ready to kick it away, and for the first time, maybe all season, he kicks it as hard as he can. The crowd cheers. It's picked up by Drake, and Drake has one punt return for a touchdown. He gets tripped up there and is going to be called down at about the 43-yard line. So with 2:32 to play, Sally's is going to have one more chance, or at least we think one more chance, to see if they can score. They're going to start at their 36-yard line. They're going to say he skidded those last couple yards.
And if you're Sally's offensive coordinator, it's kind of interesting to decide what you do here. 2:32 seems like a very short amount of time, but when you're playing against Smyrna, they could score 3 touchdowns in that time.
And in case you're wondering, both teams have 2 timeouts.
Yes.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Smyrna makes a stop here if Mike Judy doesn't take one.
I'm with you.
So it's going to be 1st and 10 on their own 36. I formation, 2 wide receivers out to the right. That's Mullen, the up back, and I believe Merlino, the tailback. DiNardo goes in motion. The give is to the tailback. He's across the 40 and to the 38. He fumbles. That was Merlino. And Smyrna says they have it. Let's see.
I believe they do.
They're unpiling.
Yes, they do.
Smyrna's got it. So a fumble by Merlino, back-to-back fumbles by Sally's, and Smyrna takes over.
Jake Kaiser is Johnny on the spot there. Merlino, again, you saw as soon as he got to line of scrimmage, 2 arms reached out and started ripping at that football. He only had 1 arm on the ball himself. That's something in a situation like this, if you're Merlino, as soon as the first contact is made, you've got to put that second arm on the football.
And so Merlino went down, the ball popped out, and a couple guys jumped on it, and nice job there by the Smyrna defense, playing chance to try to extend this lead. His team's got a 38-6 lead, 38-6 lead from the 41, and now this is going to be a reverse, and now they toss it back to Henderson, and he looks deep, and wide open is Stephen Whaley. That's a touchdown, 41 yards, 44-6. Smyrna over Sal.
You know, before the play got off, I almost jumped in and said they're going to look to get to a running clock situation right now before we get into halftime, and that's something we hadn't seen on tape from Smyrna. It almost seems like that was saved for a special occasion here to try to get up to that 35-point barrier. That was just executed perfectly. The Salesianum defense played that exactly the way you should play it. It's just one of those cases where the guy breaks free, you get an easy touchdown, but you got to take your hat off to Smyrna.
As the earthquake formation comes on board here, the Richter scale of this crowd is going to just get louder and louder as the night goes on. Will Knight has it, and he actually gets brought down. There's something you rarely see. And the Sally's guys coming in a little bit late there. No flags, but a couple guys went in there late. They probably could have flown a flag. You know, it's rarely, and then it's 44-6. The 2-point conversion did not count. We still have 2:08 left to play. 44-6. Smyrna over Sally's. We're going to keep it right here. And Marty, there's not any time in the decade that I've been on the radio doing these games that Sally's had ever been embarrassed. They're almost at that point.
I would agree. I mean, this is just, and you know, to expand on what we were saying before, there's nothing special going on here. This is everything we've seen on tape. So if you're Sally's, You knew what was coming. They just haven't been able to stop it. And that's one of the worst feelings as a football player, as an athlete in any sport for that matter. You know what's coming at you, and you still can't do anything to stop it.
You know, and as I watched film of Sally's, I watched both games they played. I also watched the tape of their game against Middletown. And, you know, Middletown, of the three teams Smyrna has played, even though that was a scrimmage, Middletown was the toughest of those three teams. And their defense, as good as it is, might be one of the best in the state, they still could not stop Smyrna. They contained them a little bit more, but couldn't stop them.
You and I saw the same thing. Yeah, Middletown came the closest to doing anything on the scrimmage.
Buscemi booms another one, and it's going to be taken at the 5-yard line by Drake up to his 10, 15, 20. Escapes one tackle and then is brought down there at about the 22-yard line. Tackle is made there by Jake Kaiser. We've called his number a couple times. They're going to mark the ball at the 22-yard line. So with 2:02 left to play here in the first half, Sally's is going to get the ball back.
You know, great discipline by the Smyrna kickoff and punt coverage teams. They always stay in their lanes. There's not a lot of people straying from one side to the other. It's all very mechanical, which is great discipline. And Coach Judy's done such a nice job of instilling that in these kids.
44-6, 2:02 to play. Won't be a running clock until the second half, and then if this lead stands, the second half will start with a running clock against something that I'm not sure Bill Donardo has ever seen against him as a Sally's coach. The give is to that is Mullen in the background or backfield. Sorry. He gets around the edge to the right, back to the original line of scrimmage, and Mike Judy is taking a timeout.
No surprise there. You know, we've talked about Mike Judy. You know, we've said this a couple times. He may not be the most popular coach in the world. He does things sometimes. We saw him throw for the end zone in the third quarter, up 50 last week. We saw him onside kick, up 50 in the third quarter last week. The first half, everything's everything's fair game. So this is no problem with doing this. If you always want to keep your foot on the gas, and you know, granted, whenever you have a team like Judy's, you can't turn that intensity on and off like that.
No.
This is the way they play all the time, and people who watch and listen to the games, you have to realize that this is built into these kids now.
And with all due respect to Del Castle and Appoquinimink, this is the first playoff caliber team that Smyrna has faced, and so to be in this situation under 2 minutes to play, you've got to run through this. And Mark Del Percio used to talk about this during the Darius Wade and Chris Godwin era when people would question why those guys were starting the second half. His point was they've got to learn how to start the second half.
That's it.
You know, they're not always going to have a 35-point lead in a third quarter of a game. So the key will be, or what we'll be interested to see, is if they maintain this lead. I think you still start your starters to start the second half for the same thing I just spoke
100%.
about. But then we'll see how he is able to mix people in, because the bottom line is he doesn't want anybody to get hurt either.
No, not at all.
So if you don't need these guys on the field, you know, there's no advantage to winning by 75 points whatsoever. So 1:50 to play. Smyrna's got the ball. Sally's has the ball, leading 44-6 on their own 22-yard line. To give us to Merlino. He follows the block of Mullen, and he gets up to about the 27-yard line. And Mike Judy is taking what I have as his third and final timeout of the first half.
And Coach DiNardo had to get a catch in his throat when Merlino spun out of the first tackle. You're curious to see how he's going to protect the ball. I'm sure he's been given the orders to protect the ball at all.
He said, I'll feel a lot better when I get my second win.
Yes.
Because his other head coaching stop was at Christiana, and he said, I got that first win against Pencader Charter, which, of course, is no longer in existence, and he said, that second win never came.
No, it didn't.
And so he said, John, I'll feel better when I get that second win.
And you know what? With all due respect to Newark, Kenyon Yelady and those the Appoquinimink offense, they got shut down by Smyrna. They're a good team. We saw them last year. They can do some things on the field, so no shame there.
No, that's for sure. Appoquinimink is a team on the rise there in the Middletown area. They're still not quite at the level of the Cavaliers, but they're moving in the right direction under Brian Timpson, a former assistant for Mark Del Percio. 3rd and 5. The fake is to Mullen. Gwynn drops back. He's being chased out of the pocket, and he throws it out of bounds. A nice move by the junior quarterback just to save himself those 5 yards he was going to lose. Going to bring up a 4th down, and Sally's is going to have to punt.
You know what, though? As much as I don't know, if you're Coach DiNardo, you'd much rather he take the sack in that situation and keep the clock running, because by throwing it out of bounds, now you've given them another timeout. Not something you need to give a Smyrna offense.
And so that's going to bring on Cooper Urban, the lefty, to punt it away. Letty Brown is being backed up to about his 35-yard line. Coach Judy is signaling. I think he wants Letty Brown not to have to chase the ball over his head, but rather see him have to run up on it. Little high snap, but Urban gets it and he kicks it away. A spiral kick's going to bounce, and Letty Brown wisely just backs away. Now he picks it up and runs into his own man, trying to get around the left edge. He does, to the 25, to the 30, cuts back up the middle, and a big hit. A clean hit, but a big one. That was Bill Stradley that came in shoulder to shoulder against Letty Brown. Good to see him pop up.
That was good. Yeah, that was a lay in the wood type of hit. Perfectly clean, but a very, very tough hit. And by the way, if people are watching on the live stream, kids out there, don't feel to punt that way. That is not something you normally want to do. Let it bounce 5 times and then pick it up right as you run into your own teammate.
So it's going to be 1st and 10 on their own 37-yard line. Nolan Henderson is back in the shotgun position. No timeouts left for Smyrna, so they're going to truly have to run a 2-minute offense here. 2 wide receivers out to the left, 1 out to the right, 2 guys in the right slot, and it's a little bubble screen to Will Knight in the middle. He cuts up to the 45 across midfield. Whaley throws a great block. Knight looks like he steps out of bounds, and he's brought out of bounds there by Michael Drake, but not until getting well into Smyrna territory. They're going to mark the ball at the 26-yard line. So a dangerous pass down the middle with no timeout.
I actually spent time watching that screenplay on our phones before the game started. It's something that Smyrna loves to do. Will Knight is great at running that screenplay. Big play for Smyrna.
1st down and 10, ball on the 26-yard line. 2 wide receivers out to each side. Will Knight is in the backfield to the left of Henderson, who's in the shotgun position. Henderson zooms it out, and they're going to say it's not caught.
It actually was caught. What he did was he went down to one knee while he caught it, which of course in high school and college you can't do. You're down immediately.
That was Marcus Vass, who came into the game with 2 catches and has that 1 catch, the big catch there. And so they're talking about it now, trying to figure out what exactly, or Sally's actually has taken a timeout. So, interesting timeout for Sally's. They're not trying to get the ball back.
That is a bizarre timeout by Sally's. The only thing I can think is that they want to make sure their defense doesn't have a breakdown and give something easy to Smyrna. I mean, it's 2nd and 11. Obviously Coach DiNardo doesn't want any more scores going on the scoreboard, so I guess you figure, you know what, you can't take them to the second half. You might as well use them and make sure your defense is set the way you want.
And the clock stopped anyway.
Yes.
I guess
it didn't because of the completed pass.
That's right. Pass. It was an incomplete, and maybe that's I don't know. It doesn't matter. They took the timeout. And so Mike Judy has his team huddled up right in front of us here. There's 52 seconds left. It's going to be 2nd and 11 with the ball on the 27-yard line. A 44-6 lead for Smyrna. If this lead stays the way it is or gets bigger for Smyrna, since they have the ball, we will start the second half with a running clock, which my guess is you can count on one hand the number of times that's ever happened.
That's remarkable. You can even say that. That's absolutely right.
2 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. That's Vass out there on the right. Will Knight is lined up in the slot. Letty Brown is to Nolan Henderson's left in the backfield. Whaley and Roberts to our left. Henderson's going to try to get it down the middle. He's got Roberts and just overthrew him. Coverage there by John Andreoli.
Henderson would love to have that throw back. He had Roberts wide open in the end zone on that little slant pattern. Just put it out a little bit too far in front.
So that's going to bring up a 3rd and 11. Clock does stop. 46.4 to play here. 44-6 lead for the Eagles. I wouldn't be surprised here if we don't see a trick play, Marty.
This is where you empty the playbook if you're Coach Judy. He's one of those guys. He doesn't seem to care about teams seeing things on tape again because he dares you to stop them.
Yeah, everything we're seeing tonight other than that double reverse flea flicker we've seen. 4 wide receivers lined up to the left. Will Knight is the lone wide receiver out to the right. Henderson's in the shotgun position. 3rd and 11 from the 27. Henderson drops back, looks left, and he gets brought down from behind by William Vanneman. and that's going to make the clock keep running. It's going to bring up a 4th down. Henderson's trying to rally the troops. They have no timeouts left. The wide receivers are taking their time getting back, and now they're hustling. 30 seconds to play. Henderson looking over to the sideline. Vass moves all the way to the other side of the field. Will Knight's lined up in the right slot. 3 wide receivers to the left. 18 seconds to play here in the first half. Henderson drops back. He's looking deep. He throws it to the end zone. He's got Roberts. Touchdown! Unbelievable. A 27-yard touchdown from Henderson to Roberts on a 4th down. Just an unbelievable play for this Smyrna team.
You know what? Just a simple fly pattern run by Eamon Roberts. He beat the defender, which, again, is if you're a coach, it's inexcusable. If you're down this much and you're on this end of the field, you cannot let someone get behind you. A great throw by Nolan Henderson. That's the kind of stuff Dave Brock, that's the reason he's offered Nolan Henderson.
And rumor has it Dave Brock is here. We haven't seen him, but we kind of think that he is here. And so this is going to set up the earthquake formation. Maybe Brock is also looking at these 2 guys in the backfield, Letty Brown and Will Knight. 50-6 lead. This time Knight gives it to Letty Brown, and he plays the earthquake man rolling into the end zone. It's 52-6. Smyrna leads Sallies with 10 seconds to play in the first half. And Marty, I picked Smyrna to win by 20. But if you had told me, and actually I'm looking at Dave Brock, he's standing down there on the line right now. It looks like he's tweeting. Tweeting out about, hey, look who we got, guys. What a play that was from Henderson to Brown, a 27-yard score to put him up 52-6. But I wouldn't have said that Smyrna would be leading by 20 at the half. I just thought they would have been leading by 20 by the end of the game.
I mean, I look at this scoreboard. This is insane. This is hard to believe that a Salesianum team, not their best team, obviously, but a very solid, very good Salesianum team, is down 52-6 with 10 seconds left in the first half. This is kind of unprecedented. Many more people are going to say they were here on this night than are actually here this night.
Well, I tweeted out, and I still think it's a fact. I think this is the largest attended regular season sporting event in Delaware history, because Baynard only seats 5,000. So even the biggest Sally St. Mark's game that go on at Baynard didn't draw this many crowds. Right. There were 10,000 at the state championship, but that wasn't a regular season game. And I don't think there's ever been a crowd like this at any other stadium, because I don't think any other stadium 6,000 other than this one. And Sally's gets the kickoff. That's Drake. He's going to run to the 30, to the 20, and just as we thought they were out of it, Drake with a long touchdown score to put Sally's on the board. Granted, they still trail by 40 points, but it's 52-12 after the touchdown run on the kickoff by Michael Drake.
You know, when he got past the kicker, a great job by Michael Drake, by the way, and that's just the spirit of the Salesianum team. Mike Judy just kind of gave one of those, you got to be kidding me, looks as he broke that last, the kicker didn't, he did a usual kicker type thing. That was a kicker type tackle, which is, I'm going to stand in your way for a second. If you move, I'm not moving with you.
So there's no time left on the clock, but they still have to kick the extra point. It stands at 52-12, so still a 40-point lead for Smyrna, which means it will be a running clock when we start the second half. Cooper Urban is in for the kick. Matthew Freeze on the hold. The lefty kick is up, and it is good. So after missing his first extra point today, Cooper Urban comes back and makes that one, and that is going to take us to the half. Your score, 52 for Smyrna, Salesianum 13 in a series of events that's hard to describe. Obviously, as I can't get the words out. 52-13 as we go into the half. They put 15 minutes on the clock, so we want to make sure we get it back to Benny Pinella for the Concord Pet Store halftime report. So we're going to send it back to Benny. You're listening to the High School Football Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290 and watching it live on 302 Sports. Smyrna 52, Sallies 13.
Mark your calendars now for the 60-second DFRC Blue Gold All-Star Ball Game
on June 17th at Delaware Stadium. Be part of this Delaware tradition that works to change the perceptions of people living with intellectual challenges and enrich the lives of Delawareans with intellectual disabilities. Enjoy the game that brings together football players, cheerleaders, band members, and buddies from more than 50 Delaware high schools. It's so much more than one night and one game. Help support the DFRC Blue Gold All-Star Football Game today at dfrc.org.
Welcome to the High School Football Game of the Week Halftime Report, presented by IBEW Local 313 and its local contractors on Fox Sports 1290.
We watched it on tape. I had Leonard down for 2 touchdowns a week before, and then we found out it was Michael Drake because he had number 3.
Welcome to the Fox Sports 1290 Game of the Week Halftime Show. What series of events we've experienced. Salesianum, number 1 versus number 2, Smyrna versus Salesianum in Smyrna, and a lot of people expecting a fantastic game, rematch of the 2015 state championship, and it's already the largest regular season game in Delaware history. A lot of people showing up for this one, and not very getting what they expected. 52-13 at the half. Smyrna ran back. Sally's, they answered back to make it 7-6, missing a field goal to tie, but they'll miss more than a couple field goals there. They're currently down 52-13, allowing 46 unanswered before finally adding a kickoff return at the end of the half. This game has been pretty eye-opening. But aside from that game, there are other games we need to talk about. Seaford versus St. Andrews. That one hit a final earlier today, 60-26 in favor of Seaford. At the half, currently, Apo homecoming, 34-7 over Newark. AI trailing William Penn 42-0 at the half. Caravel leading Del Mar 28-6. Dover and Lake Forest into the third. Glasgow had some Vosac 16-6. Indian River trailing within 20 days. St. Louis at the half leading Conrad. Sussex Central over Queen Anne's High School. 14-7 there. Other games happening. We have Cesar Rodney and Glen Mills, DMA and Tower Hill, Laurel and Sussex Tech. The Beast between Middletown and Charter, and Polytech and Delta. That as the game progresses, we're going to head to tomorrow's Delaware High School football schedule. St. Mark's will face Brandywine at 10:30 a.m. Other 10:30 start really doesn't matter at this point for Bill Belichick. He will lose because Kobe Brissett for doing surgery. Edelman. But also some games to look at. 1 p.m. starts on Sunday. The Ravens will face Jacksonville. We'll do that one right here on Fox Sports 1290. Broncos against Cincinnati. Vikings at Carolina. Washington and the Giants will face off all at 1 o'clock. 4:25, Eagles fans, a big test for Carson Wentz. He'll be at the rink as they host the Steelers. An official Monday night game is Atlanta versus New Orleans. Looking at our big sports stories this afternoon, and some important ones. Kevin Garnett, big NBA star, wrapping up his Hall of Fame career, retiring this offseason. Garnett played 21 years in the NBA, 13 and a half with the Timberwolves. He'll be mostly remembered in the 2008 season. Part of the trio that led the Boston Celtics to an NBA championship in 2008. He ends his career as the 15-time All-Star, the all-time leader in defensive rebounds, and has played in the 5th most games and has played the 4th most minutes in NBA history. Another big sports story, the Heat is turning up in Miami. Put the pun there. Looks like Chris Bosh and the Heat are at odds over his career in Miami. Reports are coming out that the Heat have not cleared him to partake in training camp.
Figure out how far that kickoff
was. With blood clots this offseason and has for 8 years and over $75 million left in his contract. Good Bosh remaining active for 1 year this year, but have his contract due for the half in February, which is coming up nicely for agency. Well, right now we'll head to break. When we come back, we'll have the University of Delaware Sports Report. We'll send it back to John and Marty live in Smyrna for your Fox Sports 1290 Game of the Week right here on Fox Sports 1290.
Want to watch high school sports live? Go to 302sports.com. Each week, we will be live streaming high school sporting events to our 302 Sports YouTube channel. Go to our homepage and click live stream to join our 302 Sports channel to see our upcoming schedule. What are you waiting for? Join today for the best coverage of high school sports in Delaware. 302 Sports. Don't miss the action. All Delaware, all sports. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at 302 Sports.
Here's a special message for those of you who owe the IRS at least $10,000 or more in back taxes. The IRS has special programs in place that could eliminate or reduce your tax debt by thousands of dollars. With the call to National Tax Helpline, you can stop the wage garnishments, levies, and tax liens now. Once you've qualified and enrolled, the IRS will stop all the collection activities against you. These unique programs have been allocated to help the economy and significantly reduce or eliminate your tax burden. The IRS is currently accepting reduced settlements and other favorable programs. You may qualify for substantial savings, so get the help you need. If you owe the IRS $10,000 or more, call now for free information and to see if you qualify. Take down the number now for the Tax Helpline, 800-255-3995. That's 800-255-3995 for free information. 800-255-3995. That's 800-255-3995.
There are over 3,000 lawyers in Delaware today. That's a big number for a small state. Who should you contact when you need legal advice? This is Melissa Rufo of Rufo Associates, a firm with roots in the Delaware legal community going back more than 35 years. We have the experience, resources, and commitment to excellence you need and deserve. We didn't ask for legal problems. Nobody wants to need a lawyer. But if the need arises, don't take any chances. Get a strong advocate on your side. You need Rufo Associates. Visit rufolaw.com. That's RUFO law.com.
Pest control for your business from Royal Pest. Since 1976, Royal Pest has protected your home and family from pests. Our dedicated certified pest techs also can protect your business. Royal Pest will keep you regulatory compliant. We provide complete documentation on site and online access to all of your services. Our focus is satisfaction and safety. Let us protect your business. Royal Pest, planet-friendly solutions to your pest problems.
The area's largest family-owned and operated pet supply store is proud to support University of Delaware Brewheads football. Concord Pet Foods and Supplies with 29 locations was started here in Delaware by Larry Muchler 35 years ago. Experience the difference at Concord Pet.
Oh, you know what?
Staff for
Jason Mitchell.
your pet needs. Plus the frequent buyer program allows you to earn free food, litter, and more. It's Concord Pet Foods and Supplies. Online at ConcordPetFoods.com. Go ahead.
This is the Delaware High School Football Game of the Week Halftime Report on Fox Sports 1290, Fox Sports 1290 AM.com, and iHeartRadio Fox Sports 1290.
Welcome back to the Fox Sports 1290 studio. A couple of scoring updates as we went to break there. Lake Forest finally got on the board. 7-0 lead over that one midway through the third. Before Sussex Central adding a score on 27-0. They lead Queen Anne's. All right, let's get to University of Delaware Sports Report. Not a lot happening on the campus so far, but Youth Cheer Day is now open for October 27th. Kids 12 and under will learn about the importance of education and fitness while meeting and interacting with the Blue Hens Cheer Squad. Participants will also learn the drill routine that will be performed at the halftime for the game leading to $10 as well as a game ticket. And friends and family can purchase additional tickets at a discount rate of $11. You can register at bluehens.com. All right, the upcoming University of Delaware athletic schedule for the Hens. All games, all events happening tomorrow. Women's golf opens play at the Penn State Invitational. Men's tennis will also be at Navy for their Joe Hunt Invitational. A couple of inter-squad exhibitions happening. Blue gold game for the men's, blue gold meet, I should say, for the men's women's swimming and diving team. That happening at 10 a.m. And baseball has their fall scrimmage at 10 a.m. Softball have a doubleheader exhibition versus Del State as well. Women's tennis will be at Harvard, women's lacrosse at George Mason, and at night 7 p.m. University of Delaware men's soccer will host Northeastern, and volleyball will welcome Townsend. This weekend for University of Delaware football, well, they're off. Their next game will be next Saturday, October 1st against JMU. You can hear that one on our sister station, 94.7 WDSD. get tickets for that one at bluehands.com. Another scoring update before we go back. Caravel 28 and Del Mar 12. End the Fox Sports 1290 halftime show. Once again, John and Marty live at the scene in Smyrna. With Smyrna up 52-13. Once again, a recap for that one. Smyrna and the opening kickoff back for a touchdown. Sally's answered back for a touchdown on their own. And of course, Smyrna would go on to score 46 unanswered, killing the running clock for the second half. Sally's did have a kickoff return before we went to halftime to make it 52-13. Another
This has been the High School Football Game of the Week halftime report, presented by the IBEW Local 313 and its local contractors. We'll be right back with the start of the second half on Fox Sports 1290, foxsports1290am.com, and on the go with our free iHeartRadio app.
Here's a special message for those of you who owe the IRS at least $10,000 or more in back taxes. The IRS has special programs in place that could eliminate or reduce your tax debt by thousands of dollars. With the call to National Tax Helpline, you can stop the wage garnishments, levies, and tax liens now. Once you've qualified and enrolled, the IRS will stop all the collection activities against you. These unique programs have been allocated to help the economy and significantly reduce or eliminate your tax burden. The IRS is currently accepting reduced settlements and other favorable programs. You may qualify for substantial savings, so get the help you need. If you owe the IRS $10,000 or more, call now for free information and to see if you qualify. Take down the number now for the Tax Helpline, 800-255-3995. That's 800-255-3995 for free information. 800-255-3995. That's 800-255-3995.
Hey bro, Paige Chet and a reminder to bring my hammer pants. I've got to return this Sports Bloopers VHS before we hit up Fuddruckers.
Well, at least some things never go out of style. Like the delicious taste of Fuddruckers with the 100% all-natural, fresh, never frozen premium beef patties, fresh baked buns, and our build-your-own toppings bar. Great taste is always in at Fuddruckers.
UD students and faculty present their ID card and receive 15% off at our Newark location.
Radical. Fuds is forever.
Fuddruckers, the world's greatest hamburger.
It's hard to miss all the TV lawyer ads. Catchy slogans surround promises of maximum recovery and fighting for your rights. Hi, this is Melissa Rufo of Rufo Associates. We have decades of experience successfully handling injury claims. Our track record with auto accidents, slip and falls, and defective products cases is second to none. We let our results be our slogan. Nobody wants to need a lawyer, but if the need arises, don't take any chances. Get a strong advocate on your side. You need Rufo Associates. Visit rufolaw.com. That's RUFO law.com.
If your child ever asks, where do sandwiches come from? Tell them the truth. Look them straight in the eyes and tell them, sandwiches come from Arby's. And if they ask where the loaded Italian and its many meats come from, kindly respond. What part of Arby's didn't you understand, Giuseppe? The loaded Italian sandwich. Arby's, we have the meats.
Mark your calendars now for the 62nd DFRC Blue Gold All-Star Football Game on June 17th at Delaware Stadium. Be part of this Delaware tradition that works to change the perceptions of people living with intellectual challenges and enrich the lives of Delawareans with intellectual disabilities. Enjoy the game that brings together football players, cheerleaders, band members, and buddies from more than 50 Delaware high schools. It's so much more than one night and one game. Help support the DFRC Blue Gold All-Star Football Game today at dfrc.org.
Welcome back to the Delaware High School Football Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290.
Welcome back to Charles Williams Stadium here in Smyrna. John Busby along with Marty Sheehan. Thanks to Benny Pinella for that halftime report. And we're in a running clock situation, Marty, something that you and I would have never expected to, haven't ever seen, and wouldn't have expected to see a Sally's team in that situation. Smyrna has a 52-13 lead. And that last touchdown was on an 86-yard kickoff return by Michael Drake to put Sally's back on the board. So Sally scored on their first possession of the game when Carson Salvo ran it in from 42 yards out to pull Sally's within 8-6, and they scored on their last possession of that first half. But in between, it was a whole lot of Letty Brown and Nolan Henderson. Letty Brown opened up the scoring on a 97-yard kickoff return to start the game and put his team up 8-0. Salvo then made that touchdown run to bring Sally's within 8-6. 2 plays later, after a long Letty Brown run, Henderson hit him with a 42-yard pass down the middle to put Smyrna up 16-6, and then Sally's turned it over on down. Smyrna, a 16-yard pass from Henderson to Letty Brown again to go up 24-6, 5:13 still to play in the first quarter. Sally's had to punt. Henderson then had an interception, his first of the season, on a tip ball. Bill Stradley hauled it in for the Sal's, but Sal's had to punt the next time as well. And then Henderson hit Emmett Roberts on a 44-yard score to go up 30-6. Another Sally's punt. And then Smyrna actually had to punt. Henderson rolled out and punted it down to the Sally's 9, and on the very next play, Salvo fumbled it. Jameer Smith came up with it, and 1 play later, 5-yard touchdown run. Will Knight scampering around the left side to the pylon to give them a 38-6 lead. And just when you didn't think things get any worse for the Sal's, Nick Merlino fumbled on their next possession, and then there was a double flea flicker that ended up in Henderson's arms, and he threw it 41 yards to Whaley, much to the delight of head coach Dave Brock, Blue Hen head coach Dave Brock, who was on hand here tonight to watch his UD commit, Nolan Henderson, make the score 44-6. Sally's had to punt. Henderson threw a long pass to Roberts for a 27-yard score with 10 seconds left. And just when you thought Sally's had nothing left in the tank, Michael Drake ran it back 86 yards to make it 52-13. Smyrna is going to be kicking off to Sally, so the Sal's will have the ball. It will be a running clock once we start. And Marty, we both said, and everybody we've talked to and gotten tweets from since this halftime started, they can't believe how lopsided this game is.
No, they just can't believe, and it seems to be the consensus is the same as we had said before we went off the air in the first half, is Smyrna's not doing anything we haven't seen them do before. It's all out there on tape except for that double reverse flea flicker. It's just been straight up, here's what we do, see if you can stop us, and Sally's has not been able to do it. And we haven't, you said it repeatedly at the end of the first half, I mean, we've just never seen a Sally's team this helpless before. They're not able to stop anything, even though they know exactly what's coming. They know who's getting the ball. I mean, for the most part, the ball, we talked about, it goes to 1 of 4 people on Smyrna for the most part, and that's it. And they're still not able to stop them. And I will say again, I want to give a shout out to that Smyrna defense. Again, they've done such a nice job, because one of the things you and I thought, I think I gave them 31, you gave them 28, was that Sally's is going to put points on the board. But they just really haven't been able to do it. I mean, take away the Salvo run in the very beginning and then the kickoff return, and they've done nothing in between, and Smyrna just dominated that period of time.
Well, let's remember, Sally struggled against a very good Father Judge team, or what was billed as a very good Father Judge team. As you pointed out, they've lost 2 games since then, I think you said. And they struggled offensively against Caesar Rodney, a team that is 0-2 heading into this weekend's game. So they haven't exactly been a ball of fire offensively, but defensively their team has been very tough. They held a Father Judge team to only 12 points, and they shut out a Caesar Rodney team who moved the ball against them but never was able to punch it into the end zone. But I tell you what's impressed me most about this Smyrna team, when I watched them on film again in their 2 wins against Appoquinimink and Delcastle, they made it very simple. They got the ball to those 4 guys, Knight, Brown, Whaley, and Roberts, or Henderson carrying the ball himself in open territory. When those guys either caught the ball, got flipped the ball, or took off running, there was nobody within 10 yards of them, and then athleticism just takes over at that point, and there was nothing you can do. What I've been impressed about tonight is how these guys are catching the ball in traffic, or they're running into the first part of the defense, and they're able to get to that second part of the defense. And I credit Smyrna's offensive line. You know, Mike Judy was quoted as saying, we're not as big as Sally's, but our guys are tough, and they're going to play tough, and they've proven that tonight. tonight.
You know, he sent us an email. I just want to share a part of it because this is kind of apropos of what we've seen tonight. At the end of this email, he told us, I want my guys in the second and fourth quarters being fresh compared to the other teams, talking about why he only plays guys on offense and guys on defense. His quote is, we wear them down in the first, beat on them in the second, break their will in the third, and roll them in the fourth. And that has worked for him for 2 years now. And the thing is, part of breaking a team's will is just being able to line up and beat them at a game they know is already coming. And no one has been able to figure out that puzzle yet.
And Mike Judy has just done an incredible job in his second year winning the school's first football state championship. Before last year, they hadn't been in the playoffs since 2003, and they hadn't won a playoff game since 1975.
That's crazy to think about. His third year, and he's already done all of this.
So Buscemi is kicking off from his own 40-yard line, moving right to left as we see it, and he punches it toward the corner. Drake has it on the 11-yard line. We'll see what he can do with it after that long kickoff return before he cuts it over to the left side, going up on the hash, and he's brought down by Darren Akko at the 29-yard line.
You know, I had said earlier in the first half, that the Smyrna kickoff teams and coverage teams did a really nice job of staying in their lanes. They also did it on that Drake return at the end of the first half. That was just a great individual effort, followed by some nice blocks in the middle of the field around the 50-yard line. Then it was just him kind of jiving his way past the kicker for as much as that's worth. But something Sally's desperately needed to go into halftime.
They're going to mark the ball at the Sally's 31-yard line. Wide receiver, this DiNardo out to the right, one over on the left, the I formation. That's Mullen at the fullback and Merlino at the fullback, and they whip it out to the side. Got his receiver at the 36-yard line brought down there. That is Michael Drake. Running clock, so we're already at the 11-minute mark.
And you know, a nice job by Smyrna. Again, they don't let very often the offense get behind them. One of the hallmarks of the Judy defense is to keep everything in front of them. They've done a great job so far.
Ball lined up on the left hash mark, moving left to right. Sally's trails 52-13 with the ball. 2nd and 5 on the 36-yard line. And a flag goes up in the air. And so this play is not going to happen. It's an illegal motion, it looks like, against Sally's. Drake is pleading his case. And now they're pointing to somebody else. But either way, it's going to be an illegal motion against Sally's, going to back them up to the original line of scrimmage.
That's an interesting call. I didn't personally see anyone move. The referee is right on the line, though, so give him the benefit of the doubt. We have seen that called a few times tonight, so they're very much on the lookout for false start penalties on both teams.
Yeah, that's the third for Sally's, the third illegal motion penalty, the 4th overall, and there were a couple illegal motion penalties on Smyrna as well as an illegal formation penalty. So 2nd and 10, ball backed up to the 31-yard line. Pro-style offense. They whip it out to Drake. He's got it, breaks one tackle, and then is brought down there. That was Jeremy DeAguiar bringing it down, but not until Drake was able to pick up a first down at the 44-yard line.
Nice job again by Drake. He's been one of the biggest offensive weapons of the season. He's actually done a great job both ways for the Sal's with 3 touchdowns, scored 3 different ways, and 3 interceptions on defense. So he's been a pretty good performer for the Sal's so far this season.
So Sal's with a good couple plays here coming out of the locker room. 2 guys split out to the right. I formation, Mullen the up back, and Merlino behind him. The give is to Merlino off to the right side, and he gets piled up there at about the 48-yard line, a pickup of about 4.
Wow, that was Joshua Hutchinson again, just laying the wood on him and the hit in the middle of the field. Nice job again by these Smyrna linebackers. The Salesianum ball carriers get held up by defensive linemen. Those ball carriers come in to finish things off, and I will say I'm impressed. Sally's just sticking to the game plan. It looks like Coach DiNardo has said, let's go out here and see what we can do. You may not be thinking they're going to score 40 points, but they're going to try to make something happen.
Yeah, I haven't seen Eli Hutchison on the field. Not to say he hasn't been, but it just made me think that we haven't called him.
You're right.
He's the guy that stood up Reeder on the last play of the state championship game last year. As Gwynn drop backs, he whips it out to the left. He's got Drake again. Drake's touching the ball just about every play, and he's going to pick up a first down. So if you're Bill DiNardo, you're happy with what you see as his team's picked up a couple of first downs. They have the ball on the 44-yard line. Running clock, 8:30 to play, trailing 52-13, but you still got to figure you're moving the ball, and this is still the top Smyrna defense in the game.
It is, and if you're a Sally's fan, you're thinking, well, if this game were 18 quarters long, we might be able to catch up at this pace, but at this point, I think Coach DiNardo just wants to try to get some offensive consistency going. They've got to get this offense fixed.
I formation, 2 receivers out to the left. DiNardo is one of them. Can't see the number of the other guy. DiNardo comes in motion left to right. The fake is to Mullen. Merlino gets the ball, and he he's going to be brought down after a pickup of about 2.5, maybe 3.
Again, Merlino doing a really nice job hitting the hole at full speed, but once again, the Smyrna linebackers are right there, just not letting any of the Sally's ball carriers get through to the secondary level of the defense.
Going to bring up a 2nd and 7 ball on the Smyrna. It's between the 41 and 42. We're going to call it on the 41. It's lined up on the left hash mark. 2 guys out to the left. That's Drake and DiNardo. I formation. DiNardo goes in motion left to right. The give is to Merlino. He goes over the left tackle and plunges forward. A helmet goes flying from one of the linemen, and he's going to be shy of the first down. That was Sean Keating's helmet that popped off, so he's going to have to head off the field per rule until the next play.
You know, there are some big hits going on in some of these files. I mean, we haven't talked about that a lot tonight, but there's some good popping going on. And you know, if you're Coach Judy, you have to know you don't want to lose the running clock. You want to get out of here with no injuries. You got this big lead, so you know he's counting on this defense to come up with a stop.
And it's going to bring up a 3rd and 5 on the 39-yard line from the left hash mark. Wide receivers, 1 out on each side. Gwynn drops back. He whips it out to Drake. Drake catches it, has the first down, cuts across the middle, and he's going to go all the way. Michael Drake with a 39-yard touchdown, his 2nd score of the night, 5th of the season, and it's now 52-19.
And you know, there goes the running clock for Smyrna, just as after I said, the announcer jinx. Great job by Drake. They're giving him so much cushion, the Smyrna defensive backs. I'm actually surprised after about the 3rd time that Gwynn hit him, but nice job by Sally. Zach Gwynn doing a nice job hanging in there, finding his man, the man who's hot right now, which is Drake. And nice job, Sally's great drive to get on the scoreboard here.
So Cooper Urban is on. Freese is going to make the hold. They're going to try to make it 52-20, and as you pointed out, that's going to eliminate the running clock, at least for now. The kick is up, and it is good. So with 6:31 to play here in the 3rd quarter, the score is Smyrna 52, Salesianum 20. We're going to take a break. You're listening to the High School Football Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290 and watching it live on 302 Sports.
A special message for those of you who owe the IRS at least $10,000 or more in back taxes. The IRS has special programs in place that could eliminate or reduce your tax debt by thousands of dollars. With the call to National Tax Helpline, you can stop the wage garnishments, levies, and tax liens now. Once you've qualified and enrolled, the IRS will stop all the collection activities against you. These unique programs have been allocated to help the economy and significantly reduce or eliminate your tax burden. The IRS is currently accepting reduced settlements and other favorable programs. You may qualify for substantial savings, so get the help you need. If you owe the IRS $10,000 or more, call now for free information and to see if you qualify. Take down the number now for the Tax Helpline, 800-255-3995. That's 800-255-3995 for free information. 800-255-3995. That's 800-255-3995.
Hi, I'm rapper, actor, model Lil Dicky, and I'm here to talk to you guys today about a pretty glaring issue within our society, and that's condom usage. Guys, I think we've gotten pretty laissez-faire about wearing condoms, and to be honest, I find it disgusting. People are having unprotected sex without even batting an eye. It's insane. It doesn't make one shred of sense to me. How can you even enjoy it? I'd be so stressed out the whole time. I won't bore you guys with the stats, but just know that STDs and unintended pregnancies are very real, and there's nothing better than peace of mind, and that's what a Trojan can provide you, the pleasure of protection. So be an adult and put a condom on.
High school football on Fox Sports 1290, foxsports1290am.com, and iHeartRadio Fox Sports 1290.
Letty Brown took the kickoff for Smyrna back to the 22-yard line, and on 1st and 10, a swing pass out to Brown. He gets it up to the 28-yard line, going to bring up a 2nd down. Sally's trails 52-20, but the clock is no longer a running clock, at least for the time being. Smyrna has had a running clock, and all 3 of it now is back to the traditional clock, as there is only a 32-point difference instead of 35. 2nd down here for Smyrna on the 28-yard line. 2 wide receivers out to the right, 2 to the left, and that is Will Knight, who faked tonight, and Brown whips it out, and that is Roberts who has it. Henderson whips it out. Roberts has it across the 32 and tackled down there. You can see Michael Drake, if you're watching this on 302 Sports, trying to rip the ball out and create a turnover. No go there. Instead, it's going to be a 1st down.
No, great job by Eamon Roberts protecting that ball. He's done a nice job all night taking that those long out passes from Nolan Henderson, again, the Wildcat back for Smyrna.
All these skills guys numbers we're calling, with the exception of Henderson, are underclassmen who will be back next year. Henderson, of course, heading to UD as the Wildcat. As Marty said, Will Knight's got it. Jukes a player, gets around the side. He's up the sideline. He's loose across the 40, to the 30, to the 20. He could go all the way. Touchdown, Smyrna, and just like that, the clock's going to run. 8 to 20.
That's just amazing, John. I mean, it looked like there were 4 or 5 opportunities to either tackle him or knock him out of bounds, and he just fought off every one of them. He's not a big kid. He's not very tall. He stays low to the ground and just does a great job of keeping his legs going, fights to keep his balance. He is just, it's hard to describe how amazingly talented this kid is. I mean, if you're watching on 302 Sports, you're seeing a heck of a show from these 2 running backs from Smyrna.
They're doing an unbelievable job, and you could have the 2 first-team All-State running backs here tonight playing on the Smyrna team.
And you might as well throw in the first-team quarterback from last year as well. I mean, this backfield is really all first-state caliber backfield.
And just Letty Brown and Will Knight are both just juniors. Will Knight coming over to the side to talk to his offensive coordinator what they want to do here. They're in the earthquake formation. Not quite sure why the clock's not running, but the officials know that it's not. So
I'm not
maybe
sure
it starts
either.
in the next official play for scrimmage, the running clock, I don't know. But it's a 58-20 lead. Smyrna over Sally's, and as soon as they kick off and Sally's gets the ball back on that first play, the clock will be running again. And as we've talked about, not often, not ever, I've seen Smyrna playing against the running clock.
You know what? This is such a long delay. I'm wondering if someone took a timeout. This is not your usual after touchdown extra point delay. I don't know if something's going on.
Yeah, now the ref is pointing. The ref is talking to somebody on the sideline down there.
Okay, I do see that. And there goes the clock.
There goes the clock. So for whatever reason, the clock was stopped. And you're right, it could have been a timeout. We're not sure. There was no signal. But anyway, 4:35 and ticking, 58-20. Smyrna over Sally's. Will Knight is back in the earthquake formation. Came into the game with 10 two-point conversions. Set what was probably a state record 51 last year, and he's got another one right here. So with 4:22 to play in a running clock, it's Smyrna 60, Sally's 20. We're going to take a break. You're listening to the High School Football Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290 and watching it live on 302 Sports.
If your child ever asks, where do sandwiches come from, tell them the truth. Look them straight in the eyes and tell them, sandwiches come from Arby's. And if they ask where the loaded Italian and its many meats come from, kindly respond, what part of Arby's didn't you understand, Giuseppe? The loaded Italian sandwich. Arby's, we have the meats.
From 2007 to 2016, 10 seasons of high school football on Fox Sports 1290 and foxsports1290am.com.
John Busby along with Marty Sheehan back here in Smyrna. Benny Pinella back in our studio. Nick Halliday and his crew running the 302 Sports live stream, and that's not a misprint. 60-30. Smyrna over Sally's running clock again here in the third quarter. That after a 65-yard touchdown run by Will Knight to make it 60-20 with 4:08 to play here in the third quarter. And Smyrna, as they've done in the past, they kind of pooch kick it, and the ball is taken there by Joseph Wesselman, and he brings it back to the 39-yard line, or I'm sorry, the 44-yard line, where the Salves will take over 1st and 10.
And again, if you're watching this on 302 Sports, that is not necessarily bad sportsmanship by Coach Judy. That is something they do all the time. It's just the way they play.
And they did it all last year.
Yes, they did.
And they did it all the year before. That's just the way, that's what Smyrna does. And so Sally's is going to have the ball 1st and 10. We'll see if they can put together a second consecutive touchdown drive here. They had one at the very beginning on their first possession of the first half. Didn't score again until that long kickoff return by Michael Drake. And then, of course, Drake just hauled scamper for that run in the last play. A quick out to, that is number 25, Desmond Bagley, and he gets across to the 46-yard line before he gets pushed out of bounds. Looks like he's got a first down.
You know, this is a really nice opportunity for Zach Gwynn, and I'm glad to see Coach DiNardo throwing the ball around a little bit. He's a kid. He didn't necessarily have the greatest success the last 2 weeks. He was amazing at the end of last season, so it's good to see him build up some rhythm going into the next part of the season.
And just to clarify, that last score for Sally's was Michael Drake hauling in a 39-yard touchdown pass from Zach Gwynn. So it was a catch and a run, covered 39 yards. 1st and 10, they're now moving the chains, the direction of the official. You can hear the fan in our crowd mic making sure that he knows he's supposed to do that. 1st and 10, Sally's is back in Smyrna territory at the 46-yard line. Merlino is in the backfield off to Gwynn's left, and the fake is to Merlino. Gwynn's going to take it and tuck it and fall and slip down before he was tackled there by Duran Ako.
That was a discretion is the better part of valor move by Zach Gwynn as he was about to be sandwiched there. Duran Aku has had a really nice job, done a really nice job for Smyrna tonight. Another part of that linebacking and defensive back core that's been really strong for them, although they don't get tested very often because teams haven't really been able to get to that second level of the Smyrna defense very often.
50 seconds left to play here in the third quarter. Running clock, 60-20 lead for Smyrna. Sally's has it 2nd and 10 on the Smyrna 46-yard line. 2 wide receivers on each side of Gwynn. Merlino in the backfield with him, and he whips it out, and that ball bounces, trying to get it out there to Jasim Lynch, making his first appearance, or at least the first time we've called his number in the game.
Yeah, that's a throw he'd love to have back. And I actually think that was Matthew Freeze kind of snuck in there at quarterback on us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was not Gwynn who made that pass. I didn't realize that, but looks like Coach DiNardo is going to give Freeze the backup, a little experience. He's a senior, 6 foot, 175 pounds, Matthew Freeze.
And so Freeze in the game. Merlino still in to his left. Quarterbacks on both sides. Senior getting a little attention here. He gives it to Merlino. Merlino up at the 40 and tripped up. Otherwise, he might have gone all the way. That was Joshua Hutchinson, a number we called quite a few times. Might have saved the touchdown there.
Absolutely. And you know what? Hutchinson, the amazing part of that is he was actually on the ground with a Sally's defender on top of him, and he reached out and tripped him up.
All right, that brings us to the end of the third quarter. That one flew with the running clock. Smyrna leads Sally 60-20. You're listening to the High School Football Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290 and watching it live on 302 Sports.
Mark your calendars now for the 62nd DFRC Blue Gold All-Star Football Game on June 17th at Delaware Stadium. Be part of this Delaware tradition that works to change the perceptions of people living with intellectual challenges and enrich the lives of Delawareans with intellectual disabilities. Enjoy the game that brings together football players, cheerleaders, band members, and buddies from more than 50 Delaware high schools. It's so much more than one night and one game. Help support the DFRC Blue Gold All-Star Football Game today at dfrc.org.
Welcome back to the Delaware High School Football Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290.
Welcome back to Smyrna. John Busby with Marty Sheehan. Benny Pinello back in the studio. Sally scored on their first possession of the second half on a 39-yard catch from Michael Drake from Zach Gwynn. But Smyrna came right back to get that clock running again on a 65-yard touchdown run by Will Knight. The Sal's have the ball. It's 4th and 2 on the Smyrna 38-yard line. Wide receivers 2 out on each side. Merlino in the backfield, lined up to the right of the quarterback Freeze, and a little tough exchange there, but they made it, and Merlino dives over the left side, picks up the first down.
That was a nice job by Merlino. You pointed it out. When you put in the backup quarterback, sometimes the exchanges, they don't get as much time practicing with the first-team offense as they might want. So now we have Zach Gwynn coming back in the game, but and that maybe that missed exchange there almost may have convinced DiNardo to throw Zach Gwynn back in.
Well, DiNardo certainly knows this game is probably out of reach, but at the same time, he's playing for next week.
Yes, he is.
He wants his offense to feel good about themselves going up against one of what has become one of the tougher defenses in the state from what we've seen. So 1st and 10 ball on the 33. He whips it out, has Drake. Drake tries to escape the tackle. A nice job by the Smyrna defense, not only making that initial tackle, but then also the pursuit that came after that. In on that initial tackle was Jeremy De Aguiar, whose number we've called several times today.
And the Smyrna defense really, I guess, does not want Drake to get behind them because that's, I'm guessing that's the 5th or 6th time Drake's been targeted in this second half, and I believe everyone's been successful.
Yeah, Drake has done a nice job. He had 3 touchdowns coming in. He scored on a pick 6, caught a pass, and also on a punt return. So he's added a kickoff return to his resume and another touchdown reception. As you mentioned, Gwynn is back in, and he gets hauled down several yards, about 10 yards back from the line of scrimmage. So a nice job by the Smyrna defense there, led by number 28, Hunter Boyer, who comes up limping but looks like he's going to stay in the game.
And that was a great job by the Smyrna defensive backfield. I actually would credit that sack to the coverage unit. Gwynn looked like he had a little bit of time to make a throw, just couldn't find anybody, and eventually they collapsed that pocket.
Couple scores. None of these are final. St. E's 30, Conrad 27, Caravelle 38, Delmar 12, Laurel 38, Sussex Tech 22. Big upset in the making.
That is, wow.
Not a big upset here, but certainly a lot bigger score differential than we thought. 60-20, 9:33 to play here in the fourth quarter as Gwynn keeps it, gets back almost to the original line of scrimmage. Going to bring up a 4th and 10.
Again, that's the third time we've seen that tonight from Zach Gwynn. It's worked. It's been successful. They've gotten a number of yards each time. They haven't really broken anything with it, but adds another little weapon to the Salesianum repertoire, which really hasn't included much outside of Merlino and Drake.
So 4th and 10, ball on the 33-yard line. No question here what Sally's is going to do. They're going to go for it. I think if you're Mike Judy, you want to see a big stop here.
I agree, 100%.
2 wide receivers out on each side. Gwynn in the lineup. That's Merlino to his left. Straight back pass. He whips it down, and it sails over the head of Jassim Lynch. And so it's going to be a turnover on downs for the Sows.
And credit that again to Hutchinson, the linebacker. He brought extreme pressure on Gwynn from the right edge of the screen there. Really nice job. Forced Gwynn to get rid of that sooner than he wanted to and end up being an overthrow.
Well, 8:33 to play. Smyrna's got the ball with a 60-20 lead. Running clock. For most teams, you might say this might be the last possession of the game if they pick up a couple first downs, but Smyrna doesn't like to pick up first downs.
Not so fast.
They like to score. So we'll see here. Nolan Henderson is in the game. Letty Brown is still in the back. All the skills starters are in, and it's kind of hard to explain, Marty, and I'm not going to try to explain it because this is how Smyrna always plays.
Yes, they
it doesn't
do.
matter what the lead is. He's got his starters in by far, for the most part, deep into these games. Henderson here with a little delayed handoff to Knight, and he gets about 3 yards before he's spun around and taken down.
Yeah, and it looked like that was a little bit of a lackadaisical effort, it looked like, from the Smyrna offense at that point. And you know what? It looks like they just wanted to give the starters a chance to come out and get a hand.
And here they go. And so hats off to Mike Judy. He's pulling all of his starters out here. Literally 11 in and 11 out. It looks like coming in to play quarterback is going to be Ryan McNatt. There's going to be 2 wide receivers. The formation doesn't change. The offense doesn't change. Keyshawn Tolbert, who actually came into the game leading the team in rushes, is in at the halfback position. A low snap. Tolbert gets it, scampers up the middle, across the 40, reaches for the first down. Depending on the spot, he'd have it. He's awfully close. Looks like he's going to be about a half a yard short.
He's another one of those kids. He's kind of in the mold of Will Knight in terms of he's not real tall, nice low center of gravity, runs really hard, thick legs. And as we said, he came in as the leading rusher of this team. Good athlete.
Unfortunately for him, he's also a junior.
Yes, he is.
And so he and Brown and Knight are all going to be seniors next year. But, Tolbert does look impressive when he touches the ball. 8:6:48 to play. Smyrna with the ball. They gave him the first down, so it was a generous spot. The pass is whipped out here with the catch is Michael Vass, and he gets dragged out of bounds to, they're going to mark it at the 40, the ref's moving back and forth, let's call it the 45-yard line of Smyrna. So it's going to bring up a 2nd down and 8.
And McNatt is a junior. He will most likely be the quarterback of this team next season. And watching him pregame warm-ups, he's got a nice arm watching him warm up with Henderson.
So McNatt is in the shotgun position. That's Tolbert to his left. The give is to Tolbert. He tries to break up the middle, and he's hauled down, among others, Sean Keating in on the tackle there.
And I will say, just to lighten up a little bit, McNatt has great quarterback hair. I saw him in the pregame when he's walking around the field. He's got that nice, long, flowing quarterback hair, the Tom Brady of the old look. Nice job by McNatt there, showing off for the home fans with that look.
Must be a 40-point differential and a running clock in the fourth quarter if Marty's talking about the quarterback's hair. The give is to Tolbert, and he's going to be dragged down behind the line of scrimmage. So this Sally's team has not given up. In on the tackle there was Garrett Million, and also big number 63, Domenico Mara. 53.
We talked about that. If you're Coach DiNardo, you want to build on something going into next week, and we saw Gwynn do a nice job with some throws to build some confidence. Now we're seeing some of the defensive players for Sally's do a nice job, even though it's the second team of Smyrna in there.
About 10 minutes down the road, Dover leaves Lake Forest 14-7 with a minute left. Lake has the ball and is driving, according to Benny Pinella's text. from the studio. Here it's 60-20, 5 minutes to play, running clock. Smyrna leads Sallies. It is 4th and 10, and a quick punt there by Ryan McNatt. So just like Henderson, McNatt can punt as well, and Sallies, they're going to pick it up. That's John Andreoli fumbling it around. He breaks over to the right side across the 40 to the 45, 50 across midfield. Smyrna finally is caught up to him. Now they can't get him, and he's finally brought down. A nice tackle over there by Ryan McNatt, the quarterback / punter. Otherwise, Andreoli might have gone all the way. That was one of those things. I don't think anybody realized that the ball wasn't dead.
They didn't, and actually the Smyrna coaches were screaming at one of their kids or a couple of their kids to go after and down that ball. You're right. It was one of those cases where he was lined up in the shotgun. I'm not sure everybody knew that it was a punt. They may have thought it was just an incomplete pass.
And there's a penalty against Sallies. The Sals are marching back, but it was going to be on the return, a hold, and so that's going to negate a big punt return by Andreoli. So not what Sallies was hoping to get. It's going to set it up on the 50-yard line. 1st and 10. 4 minutes to play here in the game. Sallies with the ball, trailing 60-20. They trailed 52-13 at the half. Could have been even worse if Michael Drake hadn't run that kickoff back 86 yards for a score. So hasn't been much on the positive side for Sallies since that 42-yard rushing touchdown by Carson Salvo on the Sal's first play of the game. 3:42 to play, running clock, I formation. And goes in motion from left to right. The give is to the tailback, and he drives up the middle, but's hit hard. That's Liam Mulvena, but he's going to have a first down. So a nice run, nice job hanging onto the ball.
Wow, Liam Mulvena, he took a shot from Keyshawn Tolbert, the junior defensive back. One of the few times we've seen them get to the secondary of the Smyrna defense, but really just laid the wood on that one.
It's going to bring up it is 1st and 10. They got the first down. They're moving the chains. Coming up on the 3-minute mark here in the fourth quarter. Been a fast second half with the running clock for most of it. Freeze is back in the quarterback. He drops back and throws it to Jasim Lynch. A little bit over his head, but probably a catchable ball. Coming up on the Concord Pet Foods and Supplies postgame show, we'll recap the ball game, announce our Crown Trophy player of the game, and look ahead to next Friday's game of the week. It's all coming up right after the game on the Concord Pet Foods and Supplies postgame show. And a big thanks to our newest partner, NKN Films, for their outstanding design of our 2016 high school football schedule. Check it out on Fox Sports 1290 AM, and check them out on nknfilms.com. 2nd and 10, ball on the 40-yard line. The give is to the tailback. That's Michael Leonard. A big hit on Leonard. That's Darrell Williams, the freshman, making his second tackle of the season. No, 8th. I had it right the first time.
And that's a kid who's trying to get on tape for the coach to see in the film room, show him what he can do, coming up with a really big shot to take down the Salesianum ball carrier.
They'll see that. Salesianum has taken a timeout here as they're hoping to hang on to the ball and had to stop that running clock. We're going to take it with them. Going into the break, it's 60-20. Smyrna leads Sallies. You're listening to Fox Sports 1290 and watching it live on 302 Sports.
Hi, it's Tom Suter of Crown Trophy in People's Plaza, and I'm a proud supporter of high school football and basketball on Fox Sports 1290 AM. Crown Trophy is the supplier of the weekly Fox Sports Player of the Game Award. If it's trophies you need, Crown Trophy has them in every shape, style, and finish imaginable. Come see us in Newark and Wilmington, and also at crowntrophy.com. Crown Trophy, the official supplier of the Delaware High School State Championship Trophy and proud partner of Fox Sports 1290 AM.
High school football on Fox Sports 1290, foxsports1290am.com, and iHeartRadio Fox Sports 1290.
John Busby along with Marty Sheehan, Benny Pinella back in the studio, Nick Halliday and his crew on the 302 Sports live stream. It's 60-20 coming out of the timeout. Sallies has the ball 3rd and 8 on the Smyrna 38-yard line. Sally's trying to make something good happen here and probably what will be their last possession of what has become a blowout game. Freeze with a quick out, and it's caught after the ball is tipped. That's Jasim Lynch who hauls it in and picks up the first down. So something positive there, Marty.
It really was. Matthew Freeze will tell his folks that was a laser shot to the wide receiver in the flat. Really nice job. But you know what? Sally's has had very few breaks go their way tonight. That was one too late.
Going to bring up a first down, though, for Sallies. 2 wide receivers out to the left. Freeze is under center. 2 halfbacks behind him in the pro-style formation. Freeze drops back. He escapes the rush. He's being flushed out to the left. He flings it into the end zone, and the ball is caught for a touchdown. The catch is by Dalton McNabb. And a kind of a gasp from the crowd.
Yeah, that was a great job by Freeze to avoid the rush. He's throwing against his body as he ran out to the left side, and it looked like the Smyrna defender actually was in position to knock that down and actually ran past the ball before it got to the receiver. So really nice moment there for this back Freeze. A long touchdown pass, and once again kills the running clock with 1:21 left.
Which only means Mike Judy's team's going to have the ball back and not have to use timeouts or use a combination of timeouts and try to score again. So, it was one of those plays. It was just, you couldn't believe it happened.
No.
Because the ball kind of was up there in the air. There were two red shirts around McNabb, and the next thing you know, he's diving in the end zone and has it. They're going for two. Freeze whips it out, and this one goes over the head of McNabb that time. In on the defense there was Justin Heath. So our score is 60-26. We're going to take our last break. You're listening to High School Football Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290 and watching it live on 302 Sports.
Rodent Protection Pest Control from Royal Pest. Are rodents running rampant in your warehouse? A problem that no one has been able to solve? Mice and rats are tough, and they can be very smart in learning how to avoid traps while they ravage your product. Call Royal Pest. Royal Pest has a history of success protecting food and other products in warehouses, silos, mills, and other facilities up and down the East Coast. Royal Pest, planet-friendly solutions to your pest problems.
From 2007 to 2016, 10 seasons of high school football on Fox Sports 1290 and foxsports1290am.com.
It's 60-26. The clock has stopped with 1:21 to play. For all intents and purposes, this game is over, but Salesianum and Cooper Irvin will be kicking off to Smyrna, and he booms it back, and that's Keyshawn Tolbert who's going to take it at his own 2-yard line. He kind of stutter steps up the middle trying to break away, and instead he runs into big Dominic Giordano and is going to be down at the 21-yard line with 1:14 to play.
Nice job by the Sally's kick coverage team there. This is actually a nice opportunity, not much time to go, but a nice opportunity for the Smyrna backups to get some experience here, including Ryan McNabb, again, the junior quarterback, who most likely at this point looks to be the man who will inherit the quarterback duties from Nolan Henderson next season.
And so it will be McNabb who will be under center, or I should say in the shotgun position. He's got wide receivers to the right and the left. These are all second string skills players in and the lineman. Mike Judy hauled everybody out at about the 8-minute mark, gave his starters one last chance to get a round of applause. They were in for one play of that last series. The handoff is to Tolbert. He escapes a would-be tackler and breaks up the middle and is hit hard by Michael Leonard, but not until Tolbert gets to the 49-yard line.
So just another burner for Smyrna that they can throw in there. Tolbert is a really good athlete, and this is what he's done the last few weeks when he's gotten opportunities. I think he had 10 carries for something like 83 yards, so he's getting a nice pop every time he touches the ball.
Final down the road, Dover with a 14-7 win over Lake Forest. Hang on for their first win of the season. A low snap that gives to Tolbert, and this time he's barreled up and taken down by John Cohill and also Garrett Million.
Yeah, unfortunately not a good opportunity for Tolbert there, as the snap really thwarted the momentum of that play. McNabb never really got a chance to get anything going on the bad snap. We've seen that a couple times with the backups in here, but this is why they play. You try to work this stuff out.
30 seconds to play, 60-26. Smyrna's going to win this one. This is probably going to be the last play of the game. Ryan McNabb keeps it, scampers around the right side, and gets taken down there by Joseph Wesselman. 18 seconds left to play, and the Smyrna coaching staff is saying that's enough. They're going to line up to congratulate the not congratulate, but to thank the Sally's team for coming on down in a game that people have been waiting for 293 days since these two teams won in the state championship. Not one person from the Smyrna side has left, despite this game being over a long time ago. Your final here from Charles Williams Stadium in Smyrna, the Smyrna Eagles 60, the Salesianum Sals 26. Marty and I will return shortly for the Concord Pet Foods and Supply postgame show. You're listening to the High School Football Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290 and watching it live on 302 Sports.
Hey, bro. Hey, it's Chet, and a reminder to bring my hammer pants. I've got to return this Sports Bloopers VHS before we hit up Fuddruckers.
Well, at least some things never go out of style. Like the delicious taste of Fuddruckers. With the 100% all-natural, fresh, never frozen premium beef patties, fresh baked buns, and our build-your-own topping bar. Great taste is always in at Fuddruckers.
Hot Dog Wednesdays, only 99 cents. Join us all day every Wednesday for 99-cent hot dogs.
Radical. Fudge is forever.
Fuddruckers, the world's greatest hamburger.
Welcome to the Concord Pet Foods and Supplies postgame show on Fox Sports 1290. Brought to you by Concord Pet Foods and Supplies. With 29 locations in the area, there's bound to be a Concord Pet near you. ConcordPetFoods.com.
Welcome back to Smyrna High School, where the Eagles have made a statement in Week 3 of the season that they are the team to beat with a 60-26 win over Salesianum. Sally's drops to 2-1. Smyrna goes to 3-0. 3 games, 3 blowouts, 3 running clocks. Mike Judy has this team right back where they were last season, scoring a lot of points and not giving up very many. The Sally's points they gave up were kind of after the fact at this point. Yes. And that's not to say anything against Sally's, but the reality of it was 2 of their scores were in this one in the third quarter and one in the fourth quarter, when this game was pretty much all but over. Time of the game was 2 hours and 10 minutes. A quick second half because it was a running clock for most of the time. And Marty, we both agree that, we both picked Smyrna to win. I had them winning by 20. I can't remember what you had them winning by.
I think it was 34.
Something like that. Yeah, exactly, 34, 60-26. But we both thought that they would win because we didn't think Sally's could contain their offense. Right. And from what we've seen on film and saw live from Sally's last week, we didn't think that Sally's would be able to keep up on the offensive scoreboard, and that's pretty much exactly what happened. I mentioned, rather than go through all the scoring, because there was a lot of it, and people that are tuned in at this point have probably listened to most of the broadcast, and we appreciate that, and so they know who scored. I want to talk about what impressed me the most, and I'm going to let you have your say. What impressed me the most is the way that they moved the ball on offense, because when I watched them on film, and I mentioned this during the broadcast, in their first 2 games over Del Castle and Appoquinimink, basically what they did is they got the ball into the hands of their 4 athletes, and they got the ball into the hands of those 4 athletes when none of the defenders were near them because of the way the plays were schematically laid out. And so it was just a matter of athletes versus athletes, and the Smyrna athletes were better than the opponent's athletes. Tonight what we saw some of that same thing, but we also saw Nolan Henderson hitting receivers and proving why he's been recruited and verbally agreed to go to the University of Delaware. This kid is an exceptional quarterback, and he lost 4 wide receivers last year, and you would never know that based on what you see, because he's got those 4 guys. He's got Emin Roberts, he's got Stephen Whaley, he's got Will Knight, who can line up in the slot, and he's got Letty Brown, who can line up in the slot or in the wide receiver position. So he lost 4 weapons. He's got 4 weapons. This Smyrna team hasn't skipped a beat from 293 days ago when they hoisted that first school football championship in the history of Smyrna High School to now, where they are, I think everybody would have to agree, the clear-cut favorites to win the state title. Your thoughts?
I would say, to piggyback on what you said, a lot of what I read online is that, Henderson kind of gets a bad rap for being a guy who throws a ton of screen passes and dumps it off to his running backs, and that's why he has all these big yardage totals. But what we saw tonight is what we've seen before on tape. We saw it some last year. He can get the ball out on the flat. He has a strong arm. He's very accurate down the middle of the field. I mean, some of the throws, even the one where Brown is wide open in the middle of the field tonight for a touchdown, that's not necessarily an easy throw to make for a quarterback. It's kind of like one of those balls that's hit right out of center field, or it's kind of difficult to judge. You don't want to throw it behind the receiver. You don't want to throw it over his head. So he's come a long way, I think, in the last 2 years in terms of accuracy and being able to throw the deep ball and put the touch on the ball. The other thing I would say, of course, Will Knight and Letty Brown and Stephen Whaley and Eamon Roberts, just amazing athletes. This defense continues to surprise me, and Mike Judy, I know it's one of his sort of secret points of pride with this team, is that this defense can stand up to a team like Sally's that basically lines up against you and just tries to bull you down the field with running plays. They don't do a lot of fancy things. They sort of line up in one receiver sets and come straight at you, and Smyrna was able to stop that. In the past, that's something Salesianum teams when they played other Delaware teams, are never really able to do that. So the strength and speed of the Salesianum or the Smyrna defense is really impressive, and it's something that it's hard to imagine a team other than maybe Middletown, but it's hard to look at one team and say, you know what, that's a team that has a formula that could stop Smyrna.
Well, and if they do, they're not going to find out till the playoffs.
No.
Those two teams do not meet during the regular season. Fortunately for Sally's, they've only got 5 or 6 nights, and they get to go back out and try to get this bad taste out of their mouth. They're going to travel to Caravel Academy to take on the Division II Bucks. Caravel pick up their first win of the season tonight with an impressive 45-12 win over Delmar. So Caravel is 1-2. And again, they'll take on Sal's next week. The Smyrna team is going to be right back here at Charles Williams Stadium, a tough place to play, as we saw. And what the neat thing is, as big a crowd as this was tonight, I'm not going to say they're going to draw 6,000 next week for the Dover game, but it'll be another big crowd.
It will.
This town is behind this school and this football team, as we saw at Delaware Stadium last year when that whole east stands was draped in red. And so Smyrna is going to host Dover. Dover picked up their first win of the season with a 14-7 win over Division II Lake Forest, a game that ended just a few minutes ago, according to Benny Pinella back in the studio. All right, when we come back, we'll announce the Crown Trophy player of the game and talk about our next game here on Fox Sports 1290. You're listening to the high school football game of the week on Fox Sports 1290 and watching it live on 302 Sports.
Here's a special message for those of you who owe the IRS at least $10,000 or more in back taxes. The IRS has special programs in place that could eliminate or reduce your tax debt by thousands of dollars. With a call to National Tax Helpline, you can stop the wage garnishments, levies, and tax liens now. Once you've qualified and enrolled, the IRS will stop all the collection activities against you. These unique programs have been allocated to help the economy and significantly reduce or eliminate your tax burden. The IRS is currently accepting reduced settlements and other favorable programs. You may qualify for substantial savings, so get the help you need. If you owe the IRS $10,000 or more, call now for free information and to see if you qualify. Take down the number now for the Tax Helpline, 800-255-3995. That's 800-255-3995 for free information. 800-255-3995. That's 800-255-3995.
Another RX Watch, brought to you by Onder Law.
Today we need to talk about yet another drug that's hurting our children.
Right. This one is called Zofran, and this story made us sick.
It did. Originally, Zofran was approved by the FDA to relieve nausea suffered by chemotherapy patients.
But then the company got greedy.
Right. To increase profits, they started promoting Zofran to treat nausea during pregnancy, this time with no FDA approval.
Turns out Zofran can cause serious birth defects.
Yep. Heart defects, cleft lip and palate, club feet, even brain damage.
Well, they got caught. In fact, they had to pay $3 billion in fines and criminal penalties for illegally marketing Zofran to pregnant women.
That means if you took Zofran during your pregnancy and your child was born with any kind of birth defect, call Onder Law to file your claim.
But time's running out. So if your child is under 23,
call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH to see if you're eligible.
That's 1-800-RX-WATCH or go to rxwatch.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Welcome back to the Concord Pet Foods and Supplies postgame show on Fox Sports 1290.
Welcome back to Charles Williams Stadium in Smyrna. You can hear the band playing. Some of the fans have stuck around to watch, and everybody else is down visiting with the Smyrna Eagles, congratulating them on a 60-26 win over Salesianum Sal's in what was billed as the biggest game of the regular season. Started out, it looked like it might be that, with Smyrna scoring on the opening kickoff, Letty Brown 97 yards, but then Carson Salvo breaking out for a 42-yard touchdown run to put his team right back on the board, so it was 8-6. We thought we were going to be in for a good old-fashioned shootout, and the next thing you know, it was 52-13 at the half in favor of Smyrna and a running clock for most of the second half. It's now time for our Crown Trophy Player of the Game. Crown Trophy, located in Glasgow and Wilmington. They've always been proud supporters of Fox Sports 1290 and the student athletes in the state of Delaware. Visit Crown Trophy for all the best in trophies, and make sure to check out their all-new varsity letter sports balls. Continuing with the Crown Trophy tradition, each player of the game this season will win a customized Crown Trophy award plaque, and the school receives one as well for its trophy case. Visit crowntrophy.com. crowntrophy.com for all your trophy, plaque, and award merchandise needs. Marty, it's always your honor to pick the Crown Trophy player of the game.
You know, I hate to play follow the leader, but every member of the Delaware sports media just about interviewed Letty Brown out on the field, and it kind of gives you an indication of where I might be going with this. I got to go with Letty Brown. I mean, they were great performances tonight. Nolan Henderson played well. Will Knight was incredible. Keyshawn Tolbert played well at the end of the game. Eamon Roberts, Stephen Whaley, these athletes just keep coming after you and after you. But Letty Brown, I mean, he's being recruited by Maryland, West Virginia, and Louisville. He is the real deal, 6'1", 195 pounds, breakaway speed, very strong. He's the one who kind of put the stamp on this game early on with the kickoff return, then the receiving touchdown. He scores in every way possible. He came in tonight with 7 touchdowns. He added 3 more tonight, so 10 after 3 games, all of which have had running clocks, which is amazing to think about. So for me, the Crown Trophy player of the game is Letty Brown.
Congratulations to Letty Brown. He'll be getting a plaque for himself and a plaque for the Smyrna Showcase compliments of Crown Trophy. All right, next Friday night, Marty and I are heading to Newcastle as William Penn hosts its only night game of the season. They bring in some portable lights. It's really a neat atmosphere. They've done that the last couple years, and they're going to take on Blue Hen Conference foe Mount Pleasant. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff at Bill Cole Stadium. William Penn won easily tonight over AI DuPont. And I would imagine that stadium's going to be packed because it's a rare Friday night game, really, for both these schools. Mount Pleasant plays all its home games on Saturday mornings up there at their place. So it's going to be a fun atmosphere. We'll have all the action for you right here on Fox Sports 1290 and carrying it live on 302 Sports. Our coverage begins with the Glasgow Medical Aid Unit's pregame show at 6:30. Followed by kickoff at 7. All right, that's going to do it for tonight. A big thanks to our producer, Benny Pinella, for keeping us up and running back in the Fox Sports 1290 studio, and to Nick Halliday and his crew from 302 Sports on site here with us at the stadium. For Marty Sheehan, I'm John Busby. Once again, your final score, Smyrna 60, Salesianum 26. From here in Smyrna until next week from Newcastle, have a great sports week.
This has been the Delaware High School Football Game of the Week on Fox Sports 1290, online at foxsports1290am.com, and on the go with our free iHeart.
All right, Benny, thanks very much, buddy. Thanks, Benny.
All the game action tonight.
Nice job, buddy.
Have a great weekend.
On Facebook. Thank you for listening.
Good job, guys. Thank you. Nice work, guys.